Chapter 433. The danger has been resolved. Hand over the resources, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Feng Qixing and the others didn't hesitate to hand over the resources they had just obtained. The Thunder Vein is nearby? Jiang Changkong took the resources and asked, "Did you send all of them to the East Sea Divine Kingdom?" "Yes." "The Thunder Vein is a few days away from here," Feng Qixing said and sent him a map. "I look forward to meeting you next time. You'll be a member of the Earth Divine Kingdom." Jiang Changkong turned into light and left. "Do you know that guy?" the warriors of the Wind Vein asked Feng Qixing. "No. He's Jiang Changkong's best friend and the most mysterious warrior on Earth. He's even more mysterious than a god," Feng Qixing said seriously. The Wind Vein still had news about the near-true god, but for Jiang Zhangyue, apart from Jiang Changkong, almost no one knew about him. Every time he appeared, he was next to Jiang Changkong. Was Jiang Changkong here too? Jiang Zhangyue had just killed a late-stage star saint from the East Sea Divine Kingdom with one slash. Was he already a peak star saint? Jiang Changkong left with the Abyss Dragon. "The Thunder Vein is on the way. Why don't we wait for 2 days and destroy it?" "Okay. Don't damage the body again," the Abyss Dragon said. Jiang Changkong smiled. "Don't worry. I'll only kill it this time." The Abyss Dragon continued to lie on him, confused. "Brother Kong, your slash just now looked like the Great Path of Death." "Yes. This is the Heavenly Blade of Death." Jiang Changkong started to introduce his Heavenly Blade of Death to the Abyss Dragon. Everywhere it passed, it left no life, completely annihilated. He could kill a peak star saint, let alone a late-stage star saint. There would definitely be a peak star saint in the Thunder Vein, but he was not afraid at all. He was invincible as long as a god and his 3 combat bodies were not here. A few days later, Jiang Changkong saw a thunderous star. He took the Abyss Dragon into the star and opened his 3 combat bodies. Taiji, Taiyin, Heavenly Blade of Death. The 3 great Daos condensed into a bright moon. The moonlight illuminated the entire star, and wherever it passed, the vitality of all living things was severed. "Who dares to trespass the lightning vein?" An angry roar resounded through the air. 4 figures roared as they charged forward, and the sky was filled with lightning. However, before the lightning could descend, the moonlight had already dissipated. "Earth's immortal kingdom, Jiang Changyu, come and destroy the lightning veins." Jiang Changkong stepped on the bright moon. Boundless starlight dissipated, and great Tao patterns spread out, covering the entire star. "Kill!" 4 Thunder Vein martial artists charged at him at the same time. The Heavenly Blade of Death whistled out, splitting the void and shattering the great path of the Thunder Vein martial artist. The 3 powers of the great path intertwined, and the Taiji absorbed the power of thunder to strengthen the blade aura. Boom! One of the quasi-meridian cultivators bore the brunt of the attack. The force of the saber light entered his body. He did not seem injured on the surface, but his life force was rapidly dissipating. What a strange blade technique. "Everyone, be careful." The expression of the Peak Star Saint martial artist changed. The power of this blade radiance could actually destroy his life force. If this power of the Great Path was not eliminated, he would not be able to recover. Jiang Changkong raised his eyebrows. It seemed that he could not kill a peak star saint with one move yet. However, it was enough to crush them. The Heavenly Blade of Death rose again, shattering thousands of lightning bolts. The 3 great paths intertwined, destroying everything. A Thunder Vein martial artist opened his mouth. It was not blood, but his internal organs that had turned to dust. Endless blade radiance surged around Jiang Changkong, and the moonlight under his feet continued to release endless blade radiance. Billions of stars floated in the blade radiance, and the endless great path was hidden within. With one slash, a martial artist was directly cut in half, and his life force was fading. "Dodge, don't touch this blade radiance." The other 3 shouted in anger and fear. The heavenly blade of death killed without injury. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. Thousands of blade radiance flew out, and these martial artists could not dodge. Boom! Another slash fell, and the martial artist that was cut in half completely lost his life force, and his soul was also extinguished. Run! The three martial artists' scalps went numb. They had not fought for long, and a peak star saint had fallen just like that. You can't escape. The bright moon under Jiang Changkong's feet suddenly split open, turning into endless blade radiance that swept out. The bright moon blade radiance turned into a bright moon world, trapping the three peak star saints within. With a thought from Jiang Changkong, thousands of blade radiance attacked the three. Another bright moon appeared in his hand, releasing blade radiance that extinguished the life force of this star. Thousands of blade radiance fell, and the Thunder Vein martial artists were destroyed one after another. Jiang Changkong raised his palm, and thousands of souls flew up from below to search their souls. The Thunder Vein martial artists had defected to the East Sea Divine Nation, and they had even betrayed the Earth Celestial Nation. More than 1,000 star saints? There were only a few dozen that did not exist. They had come up with ideas to sow discord between the Earth Celestial Nation and the Golden Feather Race, and were willing to be the vanguard to destroy Earth. Many martial artists of the Thunder Vein martial artists and the East Sea Divine Nation had gone to conquer other forces and plunder resources. After reading this information, the soul-stabilizing tree's roots spread out and devoured the souls. Under the thousands of blade radiance, the three peak star saints did not last long and turned into three corpses. Jiang Changkong collected the resources and threw the corpses to the Abyss Dragon. He flew down, and the power of the Imperial Sky Scripture spread out. Everywhere he passed, all those with cultivation were killed, leaving only ordinary people. He came to the Thunder Veins resource storage area and opened it, collecting the resources inside. Thousands of moonlight condensed and turned into a stone tablet with the words Jiang Changyue carved on it. After doing this, he left with the Abyss Dragon. There were many resources here. Some had been processed and some had not. This time, he went directly to the Eighth Ocean King's homeland. He would go into seclusion there and digest the Thunder Veins resources. The Eighth Ocean King, the Flood Dragon King's homeland. There were more than a dozen stars, but now there were only 2 left, and they were still dead stars. The path had shrunk, and it was shrouded in darkness. Maybe there's nothing left. There's no light at all. There are no resources to put in. The Abyss Dragon was a little depressed. That's why we have to go. Jiang Changkong pondered and said, if the array is still useful in the Eighth Ocean King's ruins, do you think the resources will come out? The Abyss Dragon's eyes lit up. Yes, there were only 2 possibilities. Either there were no resources or no one had discovered them. After entering a star, Jiang Changkong took out the bone map. Buzz! The bone map seemed to sense something and released a blue light. The boundless darkness also had traces of blue light. Splash! The sound of waves suddenly rang out, and the boundless blue sea gradually appeared. A water dragon rushed up from below and swallowed them along with the bone map. Jiang Changkong's vision blurred, and he arrived in another space. The Crystal Palace was the same as the Sea Race's royal palace. Outside was the deep blue sea. It looks like we have more preferential treatment than the Merfolk King's territory. The Abyss Dragon looked at the Sea Race's royal palace before looking at the coral trees on both sides. There is no aura of the corpses. Let's go. This place might be different. The palace doors are open. Jiang Changkong walked over. The palace doors were wide open, and there was a throne inside. He easily passed through the coral forest without any danger. When he stepped into the hall, it was empty. Aside from the throne, there was nothing else. There were also no 3 doors in the surroundings. There's nothing here. Did someone beat us to it? The Abyss Dragon frowned. Could there be other bone maps? Let's try this throne first. Jiang Changkong walked over to the throne. The shining golden throne had Tao patterns intertwining on it, and a flood dragon was carved on it. Countless years had passed, but this throne still looked new. There were no signs of time. Chapter 434. Jiang Chongkong had just arrived beside the throne when a blue barrier appeared, blocking his way. The bone map glowed faintly, and the blue barrier disappeared without a sound. He sat on the throne with the bone map in his hand and the abyss dragon on his shoulder. Buzz! The bone map shot out a beam of blue light towards the top of the palace. Rumble! The entire Sea Clan palace shook. A suction force suddenly came from the throne beneath him. The man and dragon were swallowed up by the suction force. After falling for an unknown amount of time, Jiang Chongkong and the abyss dragon fell into the water. A water dragon caught them and rushed straight into the depth. Deep underwater, a flood dragon sank into the ground like a mountain range. Jiang Chongkong and the abyss dragon were like ants before this flood dragon. The flood dragon exuded a dense pressure of the great Tao. Fortunately, the bone map dissipated the pressure. "Is this one also alive?" the abyss dragon asked carefully. "There's no sign of life, but strangely, there's no aura of death either." Jiang Chongkong frowned. The water dragon had already stopped, turning them into seawater in front of the flood dragon's head and merging with it. Rumble! The dragon opened its mouth, and the surrounding seawater shook violently. Jiang Chongkong and the abyss dragon's vision blurred, but they were in another world. A young man sat on the throne, looking at them coldly. "The 8th Ocean King, Flood Dragon King?" Jiang Chongkong's expression changed as he cupped his hands. The young man said slowly, "From Earth?" "Yes. I accidentally found the Ocean King bone map and came here," Jiang Chongkong replied. He didn't feel any aura from the Flood Dragon King. It was as if he didn't exist. "Do you have the power of Een?" the Flood Dragon King asked again. "I cultivate the power of Een," Jiang Chongkong replied. He was puzzled. Shouldn't he have the 3 great battle bodies? "Back then, I was good friends with the first Ocean King. The world changed, and the first Ocean King went to the celestial world. I stayed behind." The Flood Dragon King stood up and walked slowly to Jiang Chongkong. "You just need to answer a few questions of mine, and you can have everything here. Please speak." Jiang Chongkong raised his eyebrows slightly. Wasn't this too easy? He thought that he would experience some danger or something, but he didn't expect that it would only be a few questions. "There are 3 immortal scriptures here. Which one do you choose?" The Flood Dragon King waved his hand, and the 3 immortal scriptures floated in the air. One was the Supreme Combat Physique, one was the Ocean Emperor's scripture, and one was the Wind Emperor's immortal scripture. "I don't need to choose," Jiang Chongkong calmly said. "I've obtained your inheritance. This is all mine." "If you don't choose, you will fail this question," said Flood Dragon King coldly. Jiang Chongkong looked at the ultimate battle body and said, "According to legend, only those with the ultimate battle body can achieve immortal ascension. Did you pass the test by choosing this one?" The 3 immortal scriptures dissipated, and the Flood Dragon King asked again, "If you become an immortal, what will you do?" "If I become an immortal, those who submit will prosper, and those who defy will die," Jiang Chongkong said coldly. "You also have 3 great combat physiques?" Flood Dragon King's expression fluctuated slightly. "You can say that. I have quite a few Tao physiques." The 7 great Taos around Jiang Chongkong appeared one by one. "The so-called ultimate battle body is nothing in front of me." "Very well, if you become a peak near God, and you have to give up your life to open the gate of immortality for all, will you be willing?" "Give up my life to open the gate of immortality?" Jiang Chongkong frowned. "The one with the ultimate battle body who survives will still die. It's a slim chance of survival, but if you don't do it, you will never become an immortal. Then I'll kill all my enemies and leave my people behind. I will only give up for my people." Jiang Chongkong's expression turned cold. "So be it for the sake of all living beings in the world. If only the near gods of earth were left, he could open the gate of immortality. Moreover, he might not die. If there was no other way, he could plunder the world's resources and open it after he became an immortal. Was it because the gate of immortality was closed that he couldn't become an immortal now? Flood Dragon King was silent for a moment. I hope you keep your promise and open the gate of immortality, no matter who you do it for. If I can't become an immortal in this world and live forever, I won't let myself die of old age. Jiang Chongkong said lightly. Near gods couldn't live forever. Only immortals could. In the end, he still had to open the gate of immortality. Then go. The Jiao Dragon King sighed and dissipated. The space shattered and the scene shattered. Jiang Chongkong and the underworld dragon appeared in front of the dragon's mouth again. Everything just now was an illusion. A long saber emitting a terrifying chill floated in the Flood Dragon King's mouth. Jiang Chongkong was shocked. The long saber buzzed and flew in front of him. Holding the long saber, the moon chill instantly spread and the surrounding lake water froze. The scabbard was engraved with images of a jade toad, a moon, and a laurel tree. He slowly pulled it out and a stream of chill entered Jiang Chongkong's forehead. Some images and information flowed into his mind. The fourth deity artifact, the Blade of Moon. And it was a complete deity artifact, but its power had been sealed. He needed to become a near god to unlock it. Right now, it could only be considered a top star sage weapon. But even so, the sharpness of the saber far surpassed that of a near god artifact. 4 deity artifacts. The twin swords of Yin and Yang and the Battle Palace mountain-splitting axe. But the Blade of Moon had been preserved by Flood Dragon King and sealed in his body for those on Earth to take. The news of the Blade of Moon hadn't spread. The first Sea King had left it behind with a secret art before he left. Even the ancient near gods didn't know this secret. As for the deity scriptures before, they were all fake. A sharp pain came from his palm. Golden blood flowed out and merged into the saber. In an instant, he felt a bloodline connection as if they were one. The deity artifact had recognized him as its master. This Flood Dragon King really left me a big gift. Jiang Chongkong carried the Blade of Moon on his back. Apart from the Blade of Moon, there was also the Flood Dragon King's collection and some top resources. Jiang Chongkong took the Underworld Dragon to find the Flood Dragon King's treasure. After leaving, the Flood Dragon King's body dissipated, turning into countless blue spots of light that merged into the sea. What a pity! A near god. The Underworld Dragon was a bit regretful. If Flood Dragon King was alive, he would definitely be a peak existence in the universe. Back then, he could become an immortal only for the first Sea King. That's why he stayed to protect the Blade of Moon. Jiang Chongkong sighed, feeling a bit emotional. Back then, the first Sea King had wanted to take Flood Dragon King away and arranged for other near gods to protect him. But Flood Dragon King had insisted on keeping it. The other near gods might have used the deity artifact for themselves and ruined their plans. The Blade of Moon was left behind to open the gate of immortality and strengthen their ability to protect themselves. With only 3 deity artifacts, the chances of survival were almost zero. That was why the first Sea King had secretly kept the Blade of Moon. Of course, it was for selfish reasons. It was left behind for Earth. After all, Earth was the first Sea King's territory. If it were anyone else, Flood Dragon King probably wouldn't have given the Blade of Moon to them. Regarding this matter, Jiang Chongkong was very excited. Even if they were to die in the future, they would be the ones laughing in the end. Even if they died, they would kill the other near gods first to avoid trouble after death. When they arrived at the Flood Dragon King's treasure palace, Jiang Chongkong and the Underworld Dragon were both shocked. There was too much. There was even a huge pile of golden matter. Coupled with what he had obtained from destroying the Thunder Veins, Jiang Chongkong felt that he could definitely become a late star saint. He was invincible in the universe. Chapter 435. The near god back then didn't have as much territory as the current one. But times were different. Back then, resources were abundant. There were many incomplete immortal grade treasures in the Flood Dragon King's collection. One near god was the first Ocean King's confidant. The former East Sea Planet Region Lord was a true immortal. The Flood Dragon King had followed the first Ocean King and obtained a lot of resources. But he didn't want to become an immortal and was willing to guard this place. In the end, he was seriously injured in the interstellar war. He died. The dead Flood Dragon King didn't forget his mission. He used his body to guard the immortal artifact until someone came to take it. This person could be anyone on Earth, as long as they had the power of the moon and could control the Tyene celestial blade. There was a pile of golden materials and some herbs that were also immortal grade. Of course, these herbs were also damaged and their grades dropped, but they could still be considered top near god herbs. Carefully putting away the herbs, Jiang Chongkong planned to keep them and bring them back to Earth. He couldn't use them, but his compatriots could. Some of the resources hadn't been processed. Fortunately, he had brought equipment. What's this? The Abyss Dragon rummaged through the treasures and found a blue oval stone with interweaving great Tao patterns. Jiang Chongkong touched the stone. The Tyene blade on his back vibrated and the stone exploded. It turned into a screen made of star power. Many divine dragons appeared on it. They had antlers on their heads and snake-like bodies. Their eyes were like stars. The dragon's whiskers swayed like pillars, shaking the starry sky. Above the starry sky, there was a dazzling golden light. These divine dragons all rushed into the starry sky and disappeared. Is this the legendary immortal world above the starry sky? Jiang Chongkong thought. The gate of immortality was also above it? As the divine dragons left, some immortal artifacts and immortal treasures also left the starry sky and flew into the starry sky. Only the 3 immortal palaces remained in the starry sky. The Tyene Palace, the Tyene Palace. Countless near-gods were searching for the 3 immortal palaces. They didn't know what they had found inside. The near-gods controlled the immortal palaces, summoned stars and attacked the starry sky. And the Flood Dragon King appeared at this time. He still had the immortal power left by the dragon race. He used an immortal weapon to forcibly start a war that swept across the starry sky. The pitch-black canopy covered the starry sky, obscuring the golden light in the starry sky. At the same time, it swallowed up the 3 palaces. What happened next was exactly the same as what he saw when he obtained the triple light divine pearl. The dark starry sky swallowed everything. The 3 immortal palaces shattered. Near deities fell, stars exploded. A terrible war broke out in the starry sky, and the entire starry sky was dragged into it. After an unknown number of years, some of the ancient near-gods who participated fled into the starry sky to recuperate from their wounds. At this time, the Flood Dragon King still had some energy left, and it shook the entire starry sky. The 12 stargates suppressed the starry sky and isolated the star region. Those ancient gods were all thrown into the isolated area. At this time, the Jiao Dragon King's injuries had worsened to the point where it could no longer be treated. He sealed the information. The divine weapon in his hand was also completely shattered, leaving only the bone map, which he threw into Earth. There was still some immortal god power left, but the Flood Dragon King's life had come to an end. In the end, the Flood Dragon King used the last of his immortal god's power to seal this place. Only a true immortal god could enter this place. The scene dissipated, and the oval stone also turned into starlight and disappeared. I think I know what the Flood Dragon King said about opening the celestial gate and what the near gods are going to do. After reading the information, Jiang Chongkong's doubts were also solved. Those near gods were hoping that the ultimate combat body could open the starry sky and go to the legendary celestial world. It was the golden light that cut off all chances of becoming a celestial. He was the strongest, which was why Hua Tianrui said he was the greatest hope. However, the news they received should only be the ultimate combat body. They didn't dare to put all their hopes on him, a variable. They wanted to train him and the ultimate combat body separately. If the ultimate combat body didn't work, then let him go. If the ultimate combat body could do it, then he wouldn't be needed. Brother Kong, let the ultimate combat body do it, the Nether Dragon muttered. A group of ancient near gods controlled the 3 great immortal palaces, but they didn't open the celestial gate. An ultimate combat body? No matter how the Nether Dragon thought about it, it didn't seem reliable. The Flood Dragon King also said that opening the celestial gate might be the same as opening the Stargate. Once it was opened, the counterforce would be unbearable, and they would be crippled even if they didn't die. Since it was so dangerous, of course, they should let the ultimate combat body do it first, and they could follow behind to become celestials. We'll see. Anyway, I won't court death until I become a celestial god, Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. No matter how bad it was, it had to be perfect. Once it was perfect, he would become a celestial god. At that time, he would first get rid of the unstable factors. The man and the dragon started to deal with the resources. Jiang Chongkong planned to cultivate in seclusion here until he became a late-stage star saint. The Flood Dragon King's collection was more than 260 million, which would be 2.6 billion before he broke through. There was no problem in becoming a late-stage star saint. Jiang Chongkong gave the bone map to the Nether Dragon. If it was bored, it could go to the Flood Dragon King's ruins. With the bone map, it could do whatever it wanted. The Nether Dragon didn't have a corpse now, and it didn't want to cultivate in seclusion, so it took the bone map and ran away. Jiang Chongkong extracted his essence, qi, and spirit and began to cultivate in seclusion. First, he maxed out his martial arts. After spending 140 million, he still had more than 100 million left. Time passed again. Jiang Chongkong's secondary body was also slowly improving under the guidance of many celestial gods. The secondary body's improvement was not because his talent was terrible, but because of the secondary body's limitations. It was good enough that it could improve, and there were no treasures. Cultivation was very slow. Jiang Chongkong did not expect the secondary body to improve, as long as it could hold back the celestial gods. In the starry sky, the real battle had finally begun. It was another battle that swept across the starry sky. The East Sea Divine Kingdom, the West Sea Divine Kingdom, and the Earth Divine Kingdom had not yet decided when another 7 nations appeared. 10 divine kingdoms and divine kingdoms fought. The battle in the starry sky had begun again. Because there were no celestial gods participating, this battle was not as fierce as before, but it was still very fierce. Hundreds of stars were turned to ashes and disappeared. All kinds of celestial killing arrays appeared on the stage. One genius after another jumped up to participate in this battle to become a celestial god. Not only did the pressure on the Earth Divine Kingdom not decrease, it increased. Because the news spread, some of their allies also began to feel a little emotional. More than 1,000 star sages were fake. They were all tricked. As long as the celestial gods did not appear, Earth could not suppress them. Fortunately, the Golden Feather race was reliable and shared a lot of the pressure. But even so, it was still a headache for Nanyuyang. He wanted nothing more than to become a celestial god and kill everyone. In fact, he wanted to switch places with Jiang Chongkong. He wanted to be nurtured by the celestial gods and become the emperor of the divine kingdom. Time passed, and another half a year passed. The East Sea Divine Kingdom, the West Sea Divine Kingdom, the South Sea Divine Kingdom, and the North Sea Divine Kingdom were at war. Earth also joined in forcefully and occupied a place. The major nations used the resources released by the celestial gods to build starry passageways, making it much easier to fight. Under such circumstances, Jiang Chongkong finally succeeded in his seclusion. Not only did he reach the late stage, but he also perfected a martial art. Chapter 436. Jiang Chongkong. Late-stage star sage top-rank middle-grade martial arts. Indestructible golden body. Deshang. 1 out of 122. 5 million Tai Chi Sutra. Deshang. 122. 5 million/122. 5 million Sun Sutra. Deshang. 1/122. 5 million Taiyin Sutra. Deshang. 1/122. 5 million Death Heavenly Blade. Deshang. 1 for 122. 5 million Imperial Heaven Sutra. Deshang. 1/122. 5 million Cloud Taoist Sutra. Deshang. 1/122. 5 million Top Rank Middle Grade Array Art. Battle Body Star Formation Incomplete. Deshang. 1/122.5 million Essence, Qi, and Spirit. 10221888. His Taoist body was condensed, and the star power in his body was like stars. Jiang Chongkong was not in a hurry to leave. He looked at the two figures in his own star. A golden crow and a jade toad. "Guardians, do you want to come out and meet me?" Jiang Chongkong asked. He was worried that the two had left something in his body, just like Hua Tianrui. There was no response, nor any change. Jiang Chongkong frowned. Could it be that he was thinking too much? Since that was the case, he didn't care anymore. He would leave first. Next, he would take the Abyss Dragon back to his homeland. Jiang Chongkong opened the treasure chamber and walked out. The Abyss Dragon was lying at the door. Seeing him come out, he quickly took out a pile of herbs and star crystals. "That's all I found. It's not bad. Thank you, Brother Dragon." Jiang Chongkong put away the resources, which added up to 10 million star crystals. The Abyss Dragon said, "I found a passage which should lead to another star. Someone must have been there." The space passage left by the 8th Sea King? After saying that, Jiang Chongkong went over with the Abyss Dragon. They came to the entrance of the passage with the bone map. The power of the Great Law had not completely dissipated. It can still be used. "I went there once," the Abyss Dragon said. "Without the bone map, you can't enter." Jiang Chongkong nodded. The two stepped into the space passage. Flying at full speed, it only took him 2 days. In just 1 day, he arrived at another star. There was also a sea race royal palace here, but there was no water. This was a fake tomb. The coral forest in front of the palace had been destroyed. In front of the palace gate, there were star characters carved. "The immortal kingdom of the West Sea has come to offer sacrifices to the 8th Sea King," said Ao Qing, the Grand Emperor of the West Sea. "Divine nation of the Eastern Sea, the Sea King is unjust and biased towards Earth. I want to use my strength to prove that Earth is just an ant," said Huang Qianlin, the great emperor of the Eastern Sea. "Strength?" Jiang Chongkong sneered with a hint of disdain. He was now a late-stage star saint, and as long as his 3 great battle bodies were not close to God level, they would not be a match for him. "Let's go. We're going to pass by the East Sea Divine Kingdom. Maybe we'll meet them." Jiang Chongkong left the planet with the Abyss Dragon. The Abyss Dragon lay on its shoulder and also mocked, "These idiots. What's the point of fighting to the death? They're not even as good as you, Brother Kong. The 3 great battle bodies are also very powerful. If I can form a Taoist body, my strength will go up another level." Jiang Chongkong flew out of the planet, found the right direction, and went to the East Sea Divine Nation. "Then I'll have to become your disciple to learn it," the Abyss Dragon said. Jiang Chongkong shook his head. "Not necessarily. There must have been a way to form a Taoist body in the era of the Immortals, but it was lost." He did not think that the Immortals did not know about this. If he could think of it, the Immortals would have done it long ago. Passing by a star, Jiang Chongkong scanned it with his mind and saw almost everything inside the star clearly. Stargate. Jiang Chongkong was surprised. This star actually had a stargate, and there were all kinds of creatures communicating inside. With a thought, he brought the Abyss Dragon to the star. The power of the heaven-controlling scripture spread out, and Jiang Chongkong found a mid-stage star saint and searched his soul. Oh! Looking through the information in the other's mind, Jiang Chongkong frowned. Now, all the major countries had built stargates. Among them, the West Wilderness Country was formed by the Star Demon Coalition. The lies of over 1,000 star sages on Earth were exposed, and they suffered a great blow. Now, the celestial nation on Earth was only struggling with the local forces and the Golden Feather race, and was known as the weakest celestial nation. The celestial nation on Earth had already retreated to somewhere near the stars, and the allies of the Golden Feather race were also disloyal. The people of the Wind bloodline actually chose to help the celestial nation on Earth move over. The Star Demon race of West Wilderness hated the celestial nation greatly and wanted to destroy them. West Wilderness' 3 great combat bodies was a Star Demon. The other celestial nations had more than 2,000 star sages, and the number was still increasing. Having lost the protection of the immortals, the major forces were also looking to the celestial nations for protection. Over 100 star sages did not feel safe in this era. Jiang Chongkong sent the information to the Abyss Dragon. Apart from this, Jiang Chongkong's information was also sent out. The owner of the 3 great combat bodies was a variable. This variable would not appear again and would not affect their development. After digesting the information, the Abyss Dragon asked, "The situation is really chaotic now. Brother Kong, should we go back to the Celestial Nation?" "Go back for what? If I go back, Nan Yuyang will not be at ease." Jiang Chongkong sighed softly. "I'll go with you to the Eastern Wilderness and find the Yellow Springs bloodline." "Good. I really want to see what the Yellow Springs bloodline is like now." The Abyss Dragon's eyes were full of anticipation. "But are you really not worried about the safety of Earth? Your friends are all there. There's no use worrying. If I go back now, won't I just tell those immortals that this body is fake?" Jiang Chongkong put his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "When we return from the Eastern Wilderness, I'll take you to the Western Wilderness." "Good," the Abyss Dragon said in pleasant surprise. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon arrived at the Star Passage. The 2 guards had already been controlled by the heaven-controlling scripture and allowed them to pass. If they wanted to go to the Eastern Wilderness, they had to go to the headquarters of the Eastern Sea Divine Nation, Desolate Sea Planet. It meant that the Eastern Wilderness and the East Sea formed a planet. According to the memories obtained from the Soul Search, among the 10 nations, only the Immortal Desolate and Divine Desolate didn't have a supreme combat body. Only some factions from those 2 regions had joined the nations. The specific reason was unknown, and Jiang Chongkong didn't bother to investigate. 3 days later, Jiang Chongkong walked out of the Star Passage with the Grand Een Saber on his back and the Abyss Dragon, heading to the Star Passage to the Eastern Wilderness. The entire Desolate Sea Planet had a great array of immortals set up. They had turned the planet into a great killing machine. Many cultivators guarded the planet. Many cities floated in the sky. Cities in the sky. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon appeared in the city on the ground. The cultivators only glanced at him and didn't pay attention. There were many strange beings here, so it wasn't strange for them to wear black robes. Only the Grand Een Saber on his back caught their attention and made them feel extraordinary. Walking in the city, the buildings here were not much different from those on Earth. They were all tall buildings. Great victory. The East Sea Divine Nation conquered 10 planets, killed 30 star sages of the Southern Wilderness, and captured 12. The East Sea Divine Nation officially formed an alliance with the West Sea Divine Nation. Grand Marshal Dinghai, on an expedition to Earth's celestial nation, conquered 8 planets, killed 10 celestial sages, and captured 3. The Eastern Baron Grand Marshal signed an alliance treaty with the Western Baron Star race. A series of messages rang out in the city, causing Jiang Chongkong's footsteps to slow down slightly. The Abyss Dragon sighed. I'm afraid I'll have to stay for a few more days. Jiang Chongkong clenched his hands behind his back. Should I kill the East Sea Emperor? He should kill him before he became a god. Chapter 437. The Abyss Dragon nodded. It really wanted to taste the East Sea Arch. It hadn't tasted the 3 war-body cultivators yet. Then let's try. Jiang Chongkong used the Imperial Heaven Scripture to search the souls of the people of the East Sea Arch Kingdom. Apart from Earth's cultivators, there were also captives from the southern wilderness. The East Sea Arch Kingdom was mainly dealing with the southern wilderness. The Earth Arch Kingdom had only sent one general. The North Wilderness Arch Kingdom hadn't moved yet. They only occupied the Space Gate and kept a low profile. Planet Tianhuang and Planet Tianhuang had formed an alliance. South Sea and North Sea had formed an alliance, and were fighting with Planet Tianhuang and Planet Tianhuang. The captured Star Saints would be executed in the holy city of the East Sea Arch Kingdom if they didn't submit. The holy city was the largest city in the sky and the core of the desolate sea star. They had to go to the holy city if they wanted to go to the eastern wilderness. To go to the holy city, apart from those with jobs and official positions, the others needed an identity and a cultivation level of top cultivators. These were easy to get. Jiang Chongkong went to the registration department of the East Sea Arch Kingdom and got a new identity with the Imperial Heaven Scripture. Humans of the East Sea Arch Kingdom, Jiang Chongyue, Sky Snake. There were still many cultivators in the East Sea Arch Kingdom who hadn't joined the army. After that, Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon went to the Holy City and found a hotel to stay in. The staff here were all peak Star Saints, and the guests were all top cultivators. Most of them were Star Saints. Many were from other countries. Jiang Chongkong used the Imperial Heaven Scripture and spread it across the entire Holy City. With his current strength, it wouldn't be a problem for him to spread the Imperial Heaven Scripture all over the planet. He wondered if he could explode a star with one punch like a god. Oh! With the Imperial Heaven Scripture, Jiang Chongkong found a girl with blue eyes and hair. She had escaped from the mid-stage Star Saint of the West Sea when they fought for the Peerless battleship. He only paid attention to her for a while and then stopped. As he continued to expand, many creatures appeared in his mind. At the peak of the holy city, at the top of the tallest building, a young man suddenly opened his eyes. 3 types of great Tao intertwined around him. Who dares? The young man waved his hand, and countless runes appeared around him, isolating Jiang Chongkong from peeping. Interesting. Desolate forest of the East Sea Divine Kingdom. Jiang Chongkong opened his eyes with an indifferent expression. This great emperor of the divine nation actually discovered you? The Nether Dragon was a little surprised. I'm only using the Imperial Heaven Scripture. It's normal for him to find out. Jiang Chongkong opened and closed his eyes, endless stars floating in them. But he still can't find me. I saw a place just now. Let's go and take a look. What place? The Abyss Dragon was puzzled. Jiang Chongkong smiled and didn't say anything. The next moment, a man and a dragon appeared in front of a building. The Earth Immortal Embassy was sent by the Earth Immortal Nation to be stationed here. Next to it were the buildings of the West Sea, the South Wasteland Immortal Embassy, and so on. All of the 9 great nations had people stationed there. Of course, there were differences in treatment. The West Desolation Star Demon God Kingdom and the West Sea Immortal Kingdom were clearly treated better. Inside the Immortal Embassy, the Earth martial artists had ugly expressions. They had lost again. 4 Star Path martial artists and an early-stage Star Sage martial artist were discussing in the conference room. Sir, General Xue Dingpeng is an important official of the Celestial Nation. No matter what price we have to pay, we must redeem them. A Star Path martial artist had a solemn expression. Sir, how many resources did His Majesty give us? Redeem. The East Sea Divine Nation didn't just want to bring back captives to be killed, they also wanted resources. It wasn't easy to raise a Star Sage. If they wanted to redeem them, they would have to hand over resources. If the resources were too little, then sorry, they could only be executed. Yes, we must save them no matter what. Our Earth celestial nation doesn't have many star sages to begin with. We can't lose them. The other 3 star path martial artists echoed. Please be quiet, the 4 of you. The early stage star sage raised his hand and sighed. I also want to save them, but we don't have many resources to begin with. His Majesty can only give us 100,000 level 11 resources. Among them, only 10,000 are top-grade level 11, and the rest are low-grade level 11. One of them is a top-grade star sage. I'm afraid these resources won't be enough. The 4-star path martial artists' expressions changed slightly. Schwedingping's status in the Earth celestial nation wasn't low. With another top-grade star sage, these resources were simply not enough. It's not enough for even one. The early stage star sage's eyes were red. The East Sea celestial nation will definitely demand an exorbitant price. Then what should we do, Bang? The door of the conference room was violently smashed open. A figure of a star demon with blood-red eyes stared at them coldly. Behind the star demon, there were 3 star demons with strong auras of the Great Path. They were all star sage martial artists. Western Wilderness Star Demon, what are you doing here? The 5 of them stood up at the same time and stared at them angrily. Now leave this place. Leave? Stupid human, you have to understand that this is not your Earth. The leader of the star demon sneered. He walked in and pulled a chair to sit down. Do you want to save them? If you beg me, I might help you. Get out, or I'll call the East Sea Patrol. The early stage star sage said coldly. You are really heartless to your own people. The star demon sneered, his eyes cold. Call whatever you want. Who do you want to help? The Western Wilderness Star Demon had already formed an alliance with the East Sea Divine Nation. If the East Sea Divine Nation's army came, they would only stand on their side. The faces of the 5 people from Earth darkened. They didn't say a word. The Star Demon sneered. More than 1,000 star sages. You really dare to brag. You even broke my stupid little ball. Ha ha ha, more than 1,000 star sages. Why don't you send them out? The other 3 star demons laughed. If there were more than 1,000 star sages, the Earth celestial nation would have developed a long time ago. Although these countries claimed to have more than 2,000 star sages, they only had this number recently after absorbing the major races. The real Earth star sages of the East Sea Divine Nation only had about 200. The 5 of them were so angry that their bodies trembled, but they could not say anything. They regretted listening to Jiang Chongkong back then. You are done with your taunting. You can leave now, the early stage star sage said, gritting his teeth. If they couldn't win, they could only swallow the humiliation. Are you really not going to save them? We really are here to help. The star demon smiled coldly. As long as you promise us one thing, we promise to release the 3 star sages without a scratch. The 5 of them looked cold. The early stage star sage said coldly, What good can a star demon do? Let me finish first. It's a simple thing. As long as your Nan Yang kneels and kowtows to us, die. Bang! The 5 of them were sent flying as soon as they rushed out. They crashed into the wall, causing sparks to fly as they fell. Why ask for trouble when you're so weak? Isn't there an old saying on Earth, endure hardships to taste the courage? What's the big deal about making Nan Yang kneel and kowtow? That makes sense. Go out and kneel, then. An indifferent voice was heard. The 4 star demon froze and flew out the window uncontrollably. Bang! They landed on their knees, creating a hole. They kowtowed heavily. Who are you? The 5 of them got up, looking confused. They didn't know the black-robed man in front of them. A wandering warrior from Earth, wandering the universe, Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. Chapter 438. Wandering martial artist from Earth? The 5 were taken aback, then said excitedly, Are you really a martial artist from Earth? What's your name? Jiang Chongkong waved his hand. Forget it. Is the celestial nation on Earth that weak now? Ever since the news that the 1,000 star saints were fake spread, many major forces have rebelled. The five sighed helplessly. His Majesty Nan Yuyang treated them equally, but all he got in return was betrayal. I heard that the Golden Feather clan didn't rebel? Did the Wind bloodline go there too? Jiang Chongkong asked. The five fell silent and didn't answer. Please show us your proof. Some secrets cannot be answered, the early stage star saint said. You 5 pigs, my brotherhood is not from Earth? The dark dragon rushed out unhappily. However, it was a snake now, so no one could recognize it. Sorry, we can't tell you without proof. The 5 shook their heads firmly. Jiang Chongkong was silent for a moment, then sighed. I really don't know how to prove it. Fine, I'll ask Xue Dingpeng later. The 5 sighed in relief and cupped their hand. Thank you for your help, but the star demon is too powerful. Please be careful. I have something to ask you. It shouldn't be related to Earth's secrets, Jiang Chongkong said lightly. Please ask, the 5 said politely. Do you know where Jiang Chongkong went? Why can't I contact him? Jiang Chongkong asked. Jiang Chongkong? I heard that he was taken away by the gods and trained in secret, the 5 replied. The early stage star saint asked doubtfully, Why do you want to know about Jiang Chongkong? Nothing. Goodbye. Jiang Chongkong said and left. Before leaving, the 4-star demon were still kowtowing, surrounded by many people. Some star demon rushed over and tried to pull them up, but they were pushed back by a force. Ants of Earth, come out immediately and remove your sorcery. The star demon shouted angrily, but didn't dare to enter. People from other countries just watched and didn't participate. Kneel. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. The star demon in front of the door knelt down and kowtowed continuously. The star demon's eyes glazed over, and their consciousness blurred. Who are you? The blue-eyed woman asked, her eyes filled with vigilance. The people from the various countries all looked at him in puzzlement. Earth actually sent a powerhouse over? Jiang Chongkong put his hands behind his back and hid under the black robe. Earthling. With that, he left. The people from the various countries were slightly startled, but no one stepped forward. The strongest person in their group was only a middle-stage star saint. The star demon that knelt and kowtowed had no shortage of mid-stage star sages. After Jiang Chongkong left, the 5 people in the conference room fell silent. After a long while, the early-stage star saint martial artist finally spoke. Are there star saints on Earth who are wandering outside? According to the records, there was only one, Jiang Chongkong. However, he has already been taken away by the near gods, the 4-star Taoists replied. Then who could he be? Who did we overlook? The early-stage star saint martial artist frowned and thought hard, but he could not think of anyone. Could it be someone from another country who is deliberately putting on a show for us? Trying to obtain the secrets of the celestial nation? One of the star Taoists said. It's not impossible. The celestial nation is in danger now, and we must be careful with every step. The early-stage star saint martial artist said in a low voice, I will write to the East Sea Divine Nation and try to save as many as I can. Which one should we save? The conference room fell silent again. Which one should they save? Each of the 3 star saints was influential and had a high status. They wanted to save all of them, but now they barely had enough resources to save one, and they had to ask the East Sea Divine Nation to be merciful. After returning to the hotel, Jiang Chongkong sat down cross-legged and kept an eye on the situation in the holy city with the imperial heaven scripture. This time, he avoided the desolate forest of Thousand. The various countries were very curious about Jiang Chongkong's identity, and they all inquired about it. His registered identity was quickly found out. Jiang Chongyue. Jiang Chongyue. Jiang Chongkong is gone, and now Jiang Chongyue has appeared. At the peak of the holy city, Huang Qianlin, who was wearing a dragon robe, listened to his subordinate's report and said coldly, "I want to know all the information about Jiang Changyue. Your Majesty, the Star Race's envoy and the West Sea's envoy have arrived." A martial artist entered the peak of the holy city and reported respectfully. "Let them in," Huang Qianlin said indifferently. Soon, a blue-eyed young girl and a black figure, the Star Demon, entered the palace and said respectfully, "Greetings to the East Sea Divine Nations Tharch. I hope the Tharch can ascend to immortality soon and live forever. Dispense with the formalities." Huang Qianlin's body emitted an intense pressure, and he said expressionlessly, "Envoys, what's the matter?" Replying to the Tharch, "We're here for Jiang Changyue. We hope the Tharch can give the order to send troops to capture Jiang Changyue." The two envoys said at the same time. "Send troops?" Huang Qianlin's expression did not change. "Is a mere Jiang Changyue worth going to war? Even the two envoys can't capture her?" The two envoys might not be able to capture her, but they also had peak star sages behind them. There was no need for them to ask him for help. Replying to Your Majesty, Jiang Changyue's strength is not weaker than Jiang Changkong's. Back then, Jiang Changkong could already kill mid-stage star sages. Now, Jiang Changyue is probably even stronger, the blue-eyed young girl said with a solemn expression. "AOU requests Your Majesty to activate the formation to prevent her from escaping. She wants our peak star sages to suppress her, and the Empire's army will assist." Huang Qianlin smiled coldly and stood up. "Even the deities say that Jiang Changkong is the true demon-level genius. If he had participated in this war, he would have been the victor. Now Jiang Changyue, who is not much weaker than him, has appeared. Tharch, there is no need to speak further. I want to see whether this Jiang Changyue has the guts to rescue her. I want to let those deities know that they are all wrong. Only I am the final victor." Huang Qianlin's expression was cold as he said proudly, "No matter how talented he is, it is impossible for him to reach peak star sages." The two exchanged a glance and fell silent. Before coming, they had already tried to get peak star sages to awaken the Star Demon, but they had been unable to do so. They had also been unable to break the technique that Jiang Changyue had left on their bodies. Jiang Changyue's strength had already surpassed peak star sages. If the deities were not stupid and what they said was true, then this Tharch might not be a match for Jiang Changyue. "Let's talk about Jiang Changyue's identity. I am curious about him," Huang Qianlin said indifferently. Huang Qianlin said indifferently. "The one who had spied on him earlier should be this Jiang Changyue. Tharch, Jiang Changyue and Jiang Changkong are friends who have gone through life and death together." The Star Demon understood this information very well. A group of them had returned from Earth, so they knew a lot about Earth. Jiang Changkong is a peerless monster, but Jiang Changyue is superior because he comprehended the Great Tao first. Moreover, Jiang Changyue is extremely mysterious. There is very little information about him, and no one knows whether he is a man or a woman. Apart from Jiang Changkong, even deities cannot find him. Until now, no one has seen his true appearance, and those who have seen him are all fakes. The Star Demon finished speaking in one breath, his expression grave. Aou's expression was equally grave. This meant that Jiang Changyue could no longer be described as frightening. He was simply terrifying. He is just an ant hiding in the darkness. I will kill him. Huang Qianlin was still confident. Only the three great battle physiques could be a match for the three great battle physiques. Jiang Changkong had the three great battle physiques and a group of deities, so Huang Qianlin could endure it. However, Jiang Changyue had appeared, so he could no longer endure it. Chapter 439. This time, the captives of southern wilderness from Earth are unwilling to submit and have insulted Your Majesty. After discussion with the officials, they will be executed in the holy city in half a month. This voice resounded throughout the entire desolate sea star. Jiang Chongkong, who was sitting cross-legged in the hotel, naturally heard it as well. They haven't even been brought back and there's no ransom process, yet they're going to execute them? Abyss Dragon was surprised. This wasn't normal. Didn't they say that they should give the two nations a chance to ransom the captives with resources? Jiang Chongkong had a smile on his face as a voice sounded in his ears. Jiang Chongyue, I'll be waiting for you. If you really have the ability, take them away. Huang Qianlin was wearing a dragon robe as he looked up at the sky, as if he was looking at Jiang Chongkong. This unlucky child. Didn't he suffer enough? Jiang Chongkong said indifferently and didn't reply. Since this East Sea Emperor was so confident, he could only satisfy him. He hoped that he could withstand a few moves from him. He wants to spar with me. Let's wait for half a month. After saying that, Jiang Chongkong closed his eyes. Abyss Dragon didn't say anything else and lay down at the side. The people of Southern Wilderness and Earth panicked. They had prepared resources and were about to submit a petition, but they were beaten back. Southern Wilderness was the most miserable. They were completely implicated and only wanted to exchange resources for their captive. In the end, because of Jiang Chongkong's ruckus, East Sea Emperor Huang Qianlin wanted to execute them. Save them? I'll give you a chance. Let's see if you dare to come. In half a month, the envoys of the two nations tried everything they could but couldn't see Huang Qianlin. Either he didn't accept the resources or he didn't do anything. Their friends who could drink and eat meat in the past had all alienated them this time. Only the Star Demon were still kneeling and kowtowing. The East Sea Emperor didn't come to try. Whether he could save them or not, he had lost face. If the East Sea Emperor couldn't solve it, he would lose even more face. The West Desolate Star Demon would worry about this. The East Sea Emperor didn't care. The arrays in the Holy City were also activated. The entire Desolate Sea Star entered a state of preparation. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Xue Dingpeng and the other two star sages were imprisoned in the air by the patterns of the Great Tao. The 12 star sages of the southern wasteland were also beside them. The Great Tao patterns were like chains piercing through his body. His wounds could not heal and blood flowed down. 30 top star sages were gathered there. Some of them were from the East Sea Divine Nation, and some were from the West Sea and the Southern Wilderness. Huang Qianlin sat on his throne, looking at Xue Dingpeng and the others in the sky. Jiang Chongyue, I'm giving you a chance. He's already here. Do you have the guts to come? Huang Qianlin's voice resounded throughout the entire holy city. The 3 peak star sages hovered in the air with cold expressions. Jiang Chongyue. Xue Dingpeng's body trembled and he raised his head slightly. The great Tao chains shook. A wave of intense pain transmitted over, but he forcefully endured it, not releasing a trace of sound. The other 2 star sages also held themselves back. On the other hand, the late-stage Star Sacred Realm let out a terrifying scream. Miserable shrieks spread throughout the holy city, causing one's scalp to go numb. Buzz. A beam of moonlight flickered, and a wave of extreme coldness swept over. Moonlight sprinkled down from the sky. A black-robed figure carrying the moon saber on his back stepped on the moonlight and arrived at the place of execution. How courageous! Huang Qianlin sneered. Take him down, and I will reward you handsomely. Kill. The 30 star sages roared at the same time. Intense Tao might swept out and instantly charged toward the figure in the sky. Jiang Chongyue, leave quickly. Xue Dingpeng let out a long howl, and blood gushed out of his mouth. Clang. The response was a shocking voice, followed by a godly might that seemed to be able to destroy everything and stand above all living things. How could this be? Huang Qianlin immediately stood up and looked at the saber excitedly. An immortal artifact. A 4th immortal artifact that should not exist. Although the pressure was not intense, the saber intent that erupted was not weaker than the moon sword fragment. The moon sword in his hand trembled violently. This was the reaction between immortal artifact. His sword was only pieced together from fragments, while the moon saber in Jiang Changkong's hand was a complete immortal artifact. Its power was sealed, waiting for the moment to be unsealed. However, even if its power was sealed, ordinary weapons could not compare to it. Its amplification to those of the same level far surpassed that of top star sages' weapons. Death Heavenly Saber. The moon saber was unsheathed, and the image of a bright moon appeared. A will that could destroy everything enveloped the entire sacred city. The Death Heavenly Saber left only death in its path. The moon shadow and the death saber slashed out forcefully. Stellar power flowed and turned into stars. Billions of stars turned into a saber. The saber slashed down, and the 30-peak star sages were sent flying at the same time. Blood splattered everywhere. Wherever the saber radiance passed, the chains of the great path that pierced through their bodies broke. The sacred city shook, and countless veins appeared to block the saber radiance. Rumble! Rumble! The veins of the great path were destroyed layer by layer. The veins on the ground were also being destroyed. The invisible saber radiance actually ignored the veins of the great path and struck the ground of the sacred city. Not good. This saber radiance is strange. The 30 star sages spat out some powder at the same time, and their bodies emitted a dense aura of death. The domineering saber radiance was destroying their internal organs. A formless power supported Xue Dingpeng and the southern desolate martialists as they slowly descended. The saber radiance dissipated, and the veins of the great path fell silent. Wang Qianlin soared into the sky and attacked with both swords. The moon shadow and the sun shadow intertwined. Very good. Your strength is worthy of this emperor's attack. 3 great battle physiques. Not bad, Jiang Changkong said calmly. Wang Qianlin's aura was far stronger than that of ordinary peak star sages. Unfortunately, he was already a late-stage star sage. How about we make a bet? Wang Qianlin stared at the moon saber. Let's hear it, Jiang Changkong said calmly. If I win, you remove the moon saber's master recognition and let it recognize me as its master. If you win, you take your people and leave. The Eastern Sea will not make things difficult for you. Wang Qianlin's expression was indifferent. If he didn't remove the celestial weapon's master recognition, he might not be able to control it even if he killed Jiang Changkong. Sure, Jiang Changkong said calmly. Moon shadow, sun shadow, 3 illuminate the world. His 2 swords shot out blade radiance. Boundless blood qi was the main source. The 3 lights merged into one, shaking the air of the holy city. Death moonlight. Jiang Changkong's blade spun. The moon saber was extremely domineering, and the blade radiance met the power of the 3 lights. There was a loud rumble. The blade radiance and the 3 lights shattered at the same time. Powerful shockwaves surged. Fortunately, the holy city was protected by a great formation, so there were no problems. Both sides were forced back. Jiang Changkong's figure paused, and he actually passed through the shockwaves. The moon saber slashed towards Wang Qianlin. Wang Qianlin's 2 swords vibrated, and the moon sword blocked the blade radiance. Clang! The blades clashed, and both were damaged. Wang Qianlin said coldly, "Even though my sword is not as good as yours, it is made of materials that are close to divine. The celestial weapon that had lost its power couldn't break the moon sword with a single strike." Jiang Changkong didn't care about this. He just wanted to see what the limits of the 3 great battle physiques were. The blades clashed continuously. Jiang Changkong's figure flickered like a phantom. The 3 great Tao physiques flowed freely. Whoosh! A blade radiance flashed by, tearing apart his dragon robe. Golden blood flowed out. What else can you do? Show me the limits of the 3 great battle physique. You're courting death. Wang Qianlin's expression was one of shock and anger. He was actually the first to be injured, but his opponent seemed to be at ease. Could it be that this wasn't his full strength? Chapter 440. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. The The peak star sage's 3 great battle bodies could fight against his 3 great Tao bodies. However, if he didn't use his full power, then there would only be one outcome: death. Huang Qianlin's expression was furious. His 2 swords released 2 great Daos, and 11 power patterns appeared in his body. Horrifying shockwaves spread out, and the blood in his body boiled. Essence Qi shot into the sky, and the 3 lights gathered again. 3 lights destroy the world. Jiang Chongqing's expression was calm. The moon saber slashed out, turning into a sharp blade. Death moon obscuring shadow. Boom. The saber and sword collided. A strange saber light pierced through the power of the 3 lights and struck Huang Qianlin. Huang Qianlin's figure flashed, and the patterns of the great Tao interwove around him to block the sword light. On the other side, the power of the 3 lights also landed on Jiang Chongqing's body. The power of the moon swept out, and bright moons protected Jiang Chongqing. Rumble! The bright moons exploded, and a horrifying power swept out. The holy city's array was activated again. Huang Qianlin wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his expression was cold. I have to admit that you are stunning enough, but you cannot shake the myth. The myth? You? The bright moons disappeared, and the power of the 3 lights disappeared as well. Jiang Chongqing was still indifferent. 3 lights eternal. The power of the 3 lights burst out and shot into the sky. Huang Qianlin's long hair fluttered, and 11 power dragons rushed out of his body and merged into the 3 lights. An extremely powerful aura illuminated the entire Desolate Sea star. The Desolate Sea array was activated, and the patterns of the Great Tao covered the entire Desolate Sea star. Then, take a look at my Tao body. Jiang Chongqing gripped the moon saber. The power of the moon, the formless Death Tao, and the Taiji Tao. The Taiji Great Tao? Huang Qianlin's expression sank. The Taiji Great Tao. Many people in the distance were also shocked. The Taiji Great Tao, Jiang Chongqing. However, when they thought about the relationship between the two, they understood. They were brothers who had been through life and death, so there was nothing to be surprised about. They were just shocked. Not only did Jiang Chongyue comprehend the Taiji Great Tao, but he also cultivated the other 3 great Tao bodies. You are really surprising. Jiang Chongqing's soul, strength, Taiji body, and sun. As for you, you have the Taiji Taiyin and a strange saber. Huang Qianlin wore a grave expression. The power of the 3 lights seemed to be everlasting as they slashed towards Jiang Chongqing. Tai Chi blade. The distinct black and white saber light was accompanied by the 3 great Daos, complementing each other. The Taiji absorbed the power of the 3 lights and fused with an even stronger blade gleam. As the sun and moon gathered, its power increased sharply. Rumble! The Taiji blade flashed, and a shocking power surged. Kacha! The patterns of the great Tao shattered, and the buildings erupted with mysterious light before exploding into pieces. The entire holy city was shaking. The power of the battle between the two of them had already surpassed the limits of the holy city and destroyed the formation. Pucci! Blood splattered everywhere as the sword and saber flew out of their hands. Both of them were sent flying at the same time. Blood splattered everywhere as they crashed into countless buildings. Buzz! The Tai-Yin saber trembled as it flew backward. Then, it flew back and landed beside Jiang Chongqing. Rumble! The collapsed building drowned the two of them. The next moment, they rushed out at the same time. The saber and sword clashed again, and starlight swept out for thousands of miles. The strange Tai-Yin saber and the balanced power of the 3 lights clashed continuously in the air. You are really tenacious, Jiang Chongqing said coldly. The Tai-Yin saber became faster and faster, and it became more and more strange. You are the tenacious one. Among the 3 great battle physiques, I am the strongest. You are fake. Huang Qianlin shouted angrily, and his expression was somewhat malevolent. Jiang Chongqing didn't say anything else. The Taiji around him revolved, absorbing the dissipating power of the 3 lights. Huang Qianlin noticed this, and his expression sank. You want to forcefully absorb my power of the three lights? Jiang Chongkong didn't say anything. The saber light was extremely fast. Unless Huang Qianlin didn't retaliate, the power of the three lights would be absorbed by him. He was only doing this for insurance. He had already figured out Huang Qianlin's strength. Huang Qianlin was slightly weaker than him, but not by much. If this battle continued, the only one who would emerge victorious would be him. However, as the sovereign of a nation, would Huang Qianlin play normal tricks with him? Jiang Chongkong felt that it was impossible. Huang Qianlin had survived until now, so he didn't seem like someone who would keep his promises to his enemies. The two of them continued to exchange blows. Waves of great Tao energy swept out in all directions. The buildings in the holy city started to collapse, and the two of them continuously consumed their astral power. Rumble! Suddenly, the holy city trembled. Waves of great Tao energy appeared and turned into a prison, imprisoning Jiang Chongkong. Ding! The saber light landed, and the great Tao prison shook. However, it didn't break. Huang Qianlin, are you trying to act shamelessly? Jiang Chongkong said coldly. I am just smarter than you. Huang Qianlin clasped his hands behind his back and said proudly, Now you have lost. A dignified sovereign of a nation actually used a formation. If word of this gets out, your reputation will be in the gutter. Jiang Chongkong gripped his saber, and his gaze was cold. When I unify the starry heavens, who will know? Huang Qianlin said coldly. I have to admit that you are very strong. However, this is the desolate sea star's holy city. You won't be able to break this godly formation. A battle without a godly expert presiding over it can be considered a godly formation. Jiang Chongkong stroked his saber. Since you are so shameless, then let's end this. Suddenly, the power of three lights soared into the sky. The moon Great Tao formed a saber light. The sun Great Tao turned into a sunset. The force Great Tao surged out and turned into a surging qi and blood. A vast Taiji diagram contained this power and rapidly expanded. Rumble! The Great Tao prison shattered, and a boundless force swept through the entire holy city. That is my power. Huang Qianlin's expression changed, and he was instantly enveloped by the Taiji diagram. Golden blood splattered, and his arms cracked. His swords flew out again. His dragon robe turned to ash, and his body started to crack. Many saber lights pierced through his body. Jiang Chongkong's figure flashed, and the moon saber instantly arrived and landed on the cracked Huang Qianlin's neck. How is it? Huang Qianlin had just opened his mouth, and a mouthful of blood mixed with the power of the four Great Tao gushed out. The moon Great Tao, the death heavenly saber, and the Taiji Great Tao poured into his body at the same time, forcefully sealing Huang Qianlin's cultivation. Great Emperor, you have disappointed me. Jiang Chongkong carried Huang Qianlin and walked into the distance. Most of the buildings in the holy city had collapsed. Xue Dingpeng and the others had already escaped to the celestial consulate. Release His Majesty. Furious roars could be heard as many star-sacred martialists surrounded them. If you want him dead, then go ahead. Jiang Chongkong's expression was indifferent. I don't mind massacring the Eastern Sea Divine Nation. Your great emperor is now my captive. Prepare to ransom him. Jiang Chongkong carried Huang Qianlin and left. Huang Qianlin's expression darkened, and he almost fainted. He had wanted to capture Jiang Chongyue and display his might. However, he had been captured instead, and he had even been defeated by his own power. Jiang Chongkong's expression was calm. Previously, he had used his four great Tao physiques to break through the godly Great Array and capture Huang Qianlin. As for Huang Qianlin's power, it was just a cover. The group of star sages looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Huang Qianlin said angrily, What are you waiting for? Do you really want to see me die? The group of star sages dispersed and hurriedly went to prepare the resources. However, How many resources would it take to ransom a great emperor? There were no previous cases of great emperors being captured. There wasn't even any reference material. This was making things difficult for them. Chapter 441. Within a hotel in the Holy City, Huang Qianlin was casually tossed to the side by Jiang Changkong. He pulled a chair over and sat down. He looked at Xue Dingpeng and the others, who had finished healing. "Thank you, Changyue, for saving us." Xue Dingpeng cupped his hands. The other two also cupped their hands in thanks. The 5 from the Celestial Embassy were also present. They carefully looked at Huang Qianlin. They were shocked. Jiang Changkong's brother was truly ferocious. He had captured the East Sea Emperor Huang Qianlin alive. Jiang Changkong waved his hand and said coldly, "Tell me, what happened?" Xue Dingpeng and the others had awkward expressions. "We were defeated and captured. We couldn't beat them. Let this emperor tell you, Nan Yuyang is a piece of trash that can't be helped up." Jiang Changkong opened up such a good situation for him. "With the help of the Golden Feather races, close to 400 star sages, we played the celestial nation of Earth to death," Huang Qianlin said coldly. Huang Qianlin coldly spoke, his face filled with arrogance and complacency. Slap. Jiang Changkong slapped him and said coldly, "I didn't ask you to interrupt." "You," Huang Qianlin glared at him and tactfully shut his mouth. He was now a prisoner. He could talk after he got out of here alive. If he angered this guy and really killed him, he would be finished. The situation is chaotic now. Ever since the lie was exposed, a group of major forces rebelled. Xue Dingpeng sighed. "We killed some major forces and caused a backlash. His Majesty could only back down." Jiang Changkong frowned and slapped Huang Qianlin again. "What right do you have to hit me again?" Huang Qianlin said angrily, his eyes full of humiliation. "Sorry, I wanted to knock you out." Jiang Changkong slapped him again, this time knocking him out. Xue Dingpeng and the others felt their faces twitch. "How ruthless!" "Continue," Jiang Changkong said coldly. "After that, the major forces betrayed us. Only the Golden Feather race and their allies are helping us. However, the situation has deteriorated. Some of the Golden Feather race's allies are also wavering." Xue Dingpeng sighed. "His Majesty is under great pressure. He can only lead us back to the Starry Gate." Jiang Changkong was silent. Xue Dingpeng opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but he didn't. "What do you want to say? Is it related to Changkong?" Jiang Changkong coldly said, "Speak your mind." Xue Dingpeng was silent for a while, then said, "The reason those big powers rebelled was that we lied to them. The treaty doesn't count. And what do you guys think?" Jiang Changkong's voice was still as cold as before, and no one could tell if he was happy or angry. Xue Dingpeng quickly said, "We don't have any plans. After we return, we will assist His Majesty in subduing them as soon as possible." "Nan Yuyang also thinks so?" Jiang Changkong's tone became even colder. We don't dare to speculate on His Majesty's thoughts," Xue Dingpeng and the others whispered. "I'll give you half a month to leave. Contact me at any time. Once you're safe, I'll release Desolate Millennium Forest. I'll give you half a month to leave. Contact me at any time." Now that they had the Stargate, half a month was more than enough time for them to escape. They believed that the immortal nation on Earth would send reinforcement. "Take care." Xue Dingpeng hesitated, then left with them. After they left, Jiang Changkong transmitted, "Let them leave. Baron Qianlin will die if anyone dares to stop him. The people of the East Sea Divine Kingdom let them go." Some star sages even personally escorted them, afraid that something would happen to them. The dragon crawled out and grabbed his shoulder. "Are you going back? Is that possible?" Jiang Changkong sighed. The dragon fell silent. At least, it was impossible now. If he went back, Nan Yuyang would be on guard against him. Everyone would be on their guard. Had he returned to help Jiang Changkong take the throne? Even if his secondary body couldn't come out, some people wouldn't trust him. Moreover, the major forces had betrayed him, saying that they shouldn't have lied to him. Many of them were probably from the Celestial Kingdom. Just as Baron Qianlin had said, a great start had been ruined. Jiang Changkong was silent for a moment, then searched Baron Qianlin's soul. Looking at the images and the information, Jiang Changkong understood. The real reason for the collapse wasn't Nan Yuyang, but the major forces. Earth's native forces had never been a single entity. They were a federation. Previously, there had been close to a god suppressing them. Now that they were gone, the star sages naturally couldn't hold them back. In the Celestial Palace and Budokai, the major forces were fighting for power. Especially after the sealed resources had been released, some forces had gone crazy for them. Adding to the fact that they hadn't completely suppressed the major forces, their lies were exposed. Some of the great lords were siding with other nations. Nan Yuyang hadn't been ruthless enough. He hadn't dared to kill too ruthlessly, causing these people to become more and more unrestrained. The war hasn't even started, and they're already fighting among themselves. After reading these messages, Jiang Changkong felt like cursing out loud. Serves them right. He sent the information to the Abyss Dragon. The dragon was shocked. Isn't this too exciting? It is. I'm laughing. Jiang Changkong sighed. Forget it. It has nothing to do with us. Let's continue our journey. How about we build a nation? The Abyss Dragon asked. Build with what? Just the two of us? Jiang Changkong countered. If the Yellow Springs branch was still around, we could use the power of the Yellow Springs to build a nation. The Abyss Dragon stood on his shoulder and waved its claws. We'll unify the starry sky and make those close to a god eat sh*t. I wonder what's the situation with the Yellow Springs branch now. Jiang Changkong shook his head and sighed. Then, he sent another message to the Abyss Dragon. In Baron Qianlin's memories, the Yellow Springs branch had disappeared long ago. Only a great array remained inside the Yellow Springs star. The Abyss Dragon said, You'll know when you get there. With your strength, if the Yellow Springs branch still exists, you can definitely suppress them. Jiang Changkong nodded and said no more. He waited patiently. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, star sages came to deliver resources. Jiang Changkong took the resources but did not let them go. It was too little. Only 100 million essence, energy, and spirit. To hell with it. The Eastern Sea Divine Nation had been established hundreds of years ago. How could it only have this little essence, energy, and spirit? Because of this, Jiang Changkong chopped off one of Baron Qianlin's fingers and told them that this little bit of resources was only enough for one finger. The star sages went back to gather resources. Jiang Changkong looked at Baron Qianlin's Taiyang sword. These two weapons both had a mortal artifact fragment. He would not hold back. Another 2 days passed. Xue Dingpeng and the others had safely left the Eastern Sea Divine Nation. The star sages came again. This time, the resources were very generous. There was a total of 800 million essence, energy, and spirit. The medicine and herbs were not included. But it was the same. One finger. Then, he went back to gather resources. This amount of resources was almost enough for him to become a peak star sage. But now that he had such a rare opportunity, why not get more? He wanted to see how many resources a divine nation had. Half a month passed, and the star sage came again. His expression was serious as he took out his spatial ring. That's it? Jiang Changkong looked at the resources. There was another 200 million, which added up to 1,100 million. The divine nation has been fighting all these years, and the daily consumption is incalculable. This is already the limit. The star sage was almost begging. We really can't take out any more. Please, let His Majesty go. Jiang Changkong was about to say something, but his face, hidden under the black robe, changed slightly. He stood up and said, Fine. Since you are sincere, I will let him go. But wait until I enter the Stargate. With that, Jiang Chongkong carried Baron Qianlin and left the hotel in a flash, entering the Stargate. Your Majesty! The Star Sage hurriedly chased after him. If something happened to Baron Qianlin, their path to immortalhood would be over. Chapter 442. I'll return it to you. Jiang Chongkong tossed Huang Qianlin out and entered the spatial tunnel with the Dark Dragon. At the same time, the power of the Imperial Heaven Scripture changed their memories. Brother Kong, why are you walking so fast? Is there trouble? The Dark Dragon asked. Yes, the Near Gods received the news. They really have a way to contact the Near Gods, Jiang Chongkong said coldly. Fortunately, his secondary body was there. He could be considered a spy. Aren't the Near Gods not going to interfere? The Dark Dragon was puzzled. Do you think they really won't interfere? These dogs. When I become a Near God, they won't have it easy, Jiang Chongkong said coldly. This was related to their path to immortality. Would they really not interfere? The Dark Dragon blinked. Then I'll wait to eat Near Gods. Jiang Chongkong smiled and hurried with all his might. These Near Gods really thought they were the heavens and could rule over everything, using the starry sky as a chessboard. They let everyone fight to the death to open the path to immortality. They just had to wait patiently. Did they think they could suppress the ultimate combat physique with their strength and numbers? On the secondary body's side, Jiang Chongkong sat cross-legged among the flowers. Many Near Gods surrounded him with unfriendly expressions. Jiang Chongkong explained. What's going on with the Jiang Chongyue outside? A Near God asked coldly. There were no two geniuses. Jiang Chongkong and Jiang Chongyue were the same person. Jiang Chongkong had never shown his power of Yin because he had arranged the identity of Jiang Chongyue for himself. But now there was a problem. Jiang Chongkong was here with them. Who was the Jiang Chongyue who had captured the East Sea Emperor Huang Qianlin alive? Who told you that Jiang Chongyue is also mine? Did I admit it? Jiang Chongkong looked at them blankly. When did I admit it? The Near Gods. Did he admit it? It seemed like he didn't. There's really a Jiang Chongyue? The Near Gods were stunned. There really is. Jiang Chongkong asked with a strange expression. What did Jiang Chongyue do? Why are you all asking me this question? Jiang Chongyue also knows the Taiji Dao? We are friends of life and death. Even if we are not brothers, we are more like brothers. Of course I will teach him martial arts. Jiang Chongkong had a matter-of-fact expression on his face. Moreover, he was the one who taught me how to cultivate the power of Yin. Didn't you say that you were the one who gave me the cold moon art? That's right. His moon talent is stronger, and his training is better. That's why he gave me pointers. Many of the Near Gods fell silent. What the F***ck? Another variable had appeared? Then, does he know the great Tao of Sun and the great Tao of Force? The soul approached and asked. I don't know about that. Anyway, I've taught him before. Whether he learns or not, that's his business. Jiang Chongkong shook his head. The Near Gods, did you learn it? We have a premonition that he learned it. The soul approached and frowned. Jiang Chongkong, don't play trick. You received my inheritance. You should know that I know how to search souls. Liuli silently stood in front of Jiang Chongkong. Beside her, there were a few Near Gods. They looked at the soul approached and said, Try it. Jiang Chongkong's heart warmed slightly. He said coldly, If you search my soul, I will kill myself. What if the ultimate combat bodies can't do it? Haha. At this point, he didn't say anything more. If the ultimate combat bodies can't do it, then all of you can die of old age in the starry sky. Become an immortal or a god. Don't even think about it. Jiang Chongkong, we are friends. We didn't make things difficult for you, Hua Tianrui said softly. Hua Tianrui whispered, We've helped you a lot. Tell us, how do we find Jiang Zhangyue? You want to bring him here? Jiang Chongkong frowned. Isn't it better for you two brothers to be together? You can become Near Gods and immortals together, Hua Tianrui said. Jiang Chongkong was silent for a while and said, Changyue obtained the bone map of the 8th Sea King, the Jiao Dragon King. He might be there. What a good boy. Hua Tianrui smiled and left with the near gods. Jiang Chongkong closed his eyes and didn't speak. I'm sorry, but I've been to the homeland of the 8th Sea King. On the other side, Jiang Chongkong and the Nether Dragon spent 3 days to reach the Eastern Barren Territory. The Eastern Barren Territory seemed much more desolate. However, Huang Qianlin didn't forget his homeland. He built a star passage here. The man and dragon kept changing paths. After 7 days, they finally arrived at the Yellow Springs planet. Meanwhile, in the sacred city of the Desolate Sea Star, a near god arrived at the East Sea Imperial Palace. Where did Jiang Changyue go? The near god asked directly. She entered the star passage. Huang Qianlin didn't hesitate and pointed in a direction. The near god left immediately. He looked at the star passage and said to himself, From here, it really is the homeland of the 8th Sea King. I'll capture her and bring her back. In the Imperial Palace, Huang Qianlin rubbed his forehead. He felt a little confused. For some reason, he felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't figure it out. A thick aura of death surged. Jiang Chongkong and the Nether Dragon entered the Death Star. Apart from the aura of death, there was nothing else here. The Nether Dragon happily carried him through the aura of death. Soon, they reached the surface. Buzz. Many great Tao patterns flowed and sealed the underground. Can you see anything? Jiang Chongkong asked. No problem. This is the Yellow Springs Formation. It's in my inheritance. The Nether Dragon nodded. Tao patterns appeared on its body. The Yellow Springs appeared, and the formation's patterns separated. The man and the dragon sank underground. A suction force came. Jiang Chongkong didn't resist and let the suction force bring them underground. It was a vast and boundless world. They landed in front of a damaged palace. The rest of the place was empty. Jiang Chongkong used the Imperial Heaven scripture but didn't feel any aura. No. Jiang Chongkong shook his head. Am I really the only one left of the Yellow Springs lineage? The Nether Dragon said in a daze. Although it didn't have much interest in its homeland, it couldn't help but feel sad after seeing such a situation. Jiang Chongkong sighed. He didn't know how to comfort it. The Nether Dragon walked into the palace. It was also empty. There were only broken Tao patterns that occasionally emitted a gray glow. Damn it, why am I the only one left? The Nether Dragon hammered the floor with its claws. You still have your little brother. We can open the Yellow Springs again. Jiang Chongkong couldn't help but say, I'll create 10 Death Stars for you. You'll be the master of the Yellow Springs. Buzz. Suddenly, the broken Tao patterns shone. The yellow springs on the Nether Dragon's body fluctuated. Countless evil spirits floated. The Tao patterns danced and turned into star runes, forming a paragraph. If a descendant of the Yellow Springs lineage finds this place, collect countless evil spirits, head to the Immortal Slaying platform in the Immortal Desolate, pass the test, ascend to the throne of Yama, and open the self-sealed Yellow Springs lineage. The Yellow Springs self-sealed the Immortal Slaying platform in the Immortal Desolate? Jiang Chongkong looked at the message and patted the Nether Dragon. Brother Dragon, your clansmen are here. The Nether Dragon was excited. Little brother, the Yellow Springs lineage really still exists. Our immortal kingdom is settled. Do the 10 Death Stars and the Master of the Yellow Springs still count? At the end, the Nether Dragon looked at him expectantly. Forget about 10, I'll make 100 for you. Jiang Chongkong smiled. There will definitely be a place for you in the starry sky in the future. Okay, when are we going to the Immortal Desolate? The Nether Dragon nodded. It couldn't wait and wanted to go now. Can this Yellow Springs formation block the probing of near deities? Jiang Chongkong asked. Of course it can. This place has been refined by the Yellow Springs lineage for many years. Although I can't activate it, without my Yellow Springs lineage, near deities can't enter. the nether dragon said proudly. Then I'll go into seclusion first. The situation is tense now. When I reach the peak of Star Saint, I'll follow you to the immortal desolate and unseal the Yellow Springs lineage. Jiang Chongkong muttered. When he reached the peak of Star Saint, he should be able to protect himself against normal early-stage near-deities. Chapter 443. Time seemed to be the most worthless thing to a top martial artist. A year, 10, or even 100 years might have passed after a session of seclusion. It had been more than a year since Jiang Chongkong had wreaked havoc on the desolate Starfish Star and captured the East Sea Emperor alive. The East Sea Emperor, Huang Qianlin, had become a laughingstock in the universe. He had 3 great battle bodies and was a peak star sage, second only to the near gods. This time, he had lost to an unknown Jiang Changyue and had to use resources to redeem himself. Apart from essence, qi, and spirit, there were all kinds of herbs, medicines, ores, and other resources. When all of them were added up, the number was extremely terrifying. It was enough to tempt any power or person. At first, Huang Qianlin had been furious and locked himself in the imperial palace for a long time. Some said he was too ashamed to come out, others said he had comprehended a near-god Tao. Some said he was in seclusion to study a secret technique, preparing to avenge himself. Jiang Chongkong, on the other hand, became famous. A long time ago, Jiang Chongkong had killed a mid-stage star sage at the peak of the star Tao. The near gods were afraid of his combat strength and said he was the strongest, far stronger than the 3 battle bodies. At first, some people didn't believe it, including the emperors. But this time, everyone believed Huang Qianlin's story. Jiang Chongkong was a friend of life and death. Their strength had always been about the same, but Jiang Changyue had defeated Huang Qianlin. This meant that the near gods weren't lying. The Earth Celestial Nation was peaceful for a while. They weren't sure if Jiang Changyue would return to the Earth Celestial Nation. Jiang Changyue and Jiang Chongkong weren't the same as Nanyang. These were 2 murderous stars. If they jumped in front of them, they might destroy them. In addition, just in case, the near gods secretly came to the Earth Celestial Nation to wait for Jiang Changyue to appear. The 8th Sea King's old haunt was guarded by a near god. Is Jiang Changyue not here anymore? The god frowned. He had been here for 9 months, and even the Earth Expeditionary Force had come out. But in the end, there was no sign of Jiang Changyue. However, without the bone map, even true gods could not enter. They could only wait outside. Let's wait a little longer. If it doesn't work out, we'll call them over and flatten this place together. The deity's expression turned gloomy as he thought of the stone tablet. At that time, with the help of the many near deities, and the stone tablet with the immortal aura, they should be able to flatten this place and find Jiang Changyue. However, this might cause a huge commotion. Death Star, Yellow Springs homeland. The 7 great stars shone brightly, and the 7 great paths flowed. As the patterns of the great paths shone, an extreme pressure swept out. The damaged palace could no longer be maintained and directly turned into dust. The Abyss Dragon's expression changed, and he quickly used the rune to protect himself. The Tao pattern imprint continued to transform, and Jiang Chongkong's aura became more and more terrifying. When it saw Jiang Chongkong, the Abyss Dragon's eyes were filled with delight. This aura made it feel as if it was facing a true god. Jiang Chongkong, who had reached the peak of Star Saint, was extremely powerful. Especially when he was breaking through, he did not suppress his power and unleashed his full power. The Tao patterns were carved, and the aura changed again. 80% of the Tao body was formed, and the entire Yellow Springs array shone, sealing the pressure. The stars of the Yellow Springs bloodline that had been refined for many years also trembled. Just like that, another 3 months passed. Jiang Chongkong finally opened his eyes, and the aura of the Great Path on his body was extremely dense. All the power began to be retracted, and the transformation was complete. Jiang Chongkong, Peak Star Saint top rank mid-grade martial art, indestructible golden body, perfect, 1/857, 500,000 Tai Chi Sutra, perfect, 1/857, 500,000 Sun Sutra, perfect, 1/857, 500,000 Moon Sutra, perfect, 1/857, 500,000 Death Heavenly Blade, perfect, 1/857, 500,000 Sky Imperial Scripture, perfect, 1/857, 500,000 Cloud Taoist Scripture, perfect, 1/857, 500,000 Top Rank Mid-Grade Array Art, Battle Body Star Formation Incomplete Perfect, 1/857, 500,000 Essence, Energy and Spirit, 143351588 Looks like I really have to attack the country. Jiang Chongkong felt the power in his body. The drops of star power were like stars. Every cell was like a star. He could manifest a body the size of a star at any time, but his combat power would not increase. Underworld Dragon left the array. Brother Kong, congratulations on reaching the peak of Star Saint. Brother Dragon, congratulations. In the future, you can kill a peak Star Saint with a wave of your hand. Jiang Chongkong smiled and said, I will prepare countless Star Saint corpses for you, and even corpses close to God level. You and I will become immortals together. Brother Kong, shall we go to the immortal barren land to unseal the Yellow Springs? Underworld Dragon said excitedly. It was already looking forward to the beautiful life in the future. It would also become close to God level and set foot on the peak of the starry sky. Let's go. If we want to go to the immortal barren land now, we have to go through the West Ocean Immortal Kingdom or the West Wilderness Star Demon Kingdom. Jiang Chongkong took Underworld Dragon and left the Death Star. How about we do it in the West Ocean Celestial Kingdom and the West Wilderness Star Demon Country? Underworld Dragon asked. Sure. With our strength, it is not a problem to rob a country secretly. Jiang Chongkong could not stop smiling. He now had 3 Dao bodies, so he could easily deal with them, even if they were cultivators of the 3 battle bodies. He could control Adarch to make them hand over their resources. It just so happened that these 2 were old enemies. He also had to prepare the evil spirits that Underworld Dragon needed. He would get them from the West Wilderness. A group of Star Demon did not need to build a country. The human and dragon changed their figures, and the Tai Chi Great Tao enveloped them. To outsiders, they were just ordinary early-stage Star Saints. Using the Stargate, Jiang Chongkong would erase the memories of everyone he passed by, leaving no traces behind. He would also search their souls to obtain information and send a copy to Underworld Dragon. Jiang Chongkong came to the desolate Sea Star Saint City again. He did not stop. The desolate forest was already poor and not worthy of his attention. The situation in space was still the same. There was no change. The human and dragon used the Imperial Heaven Scripture wherever they passed. The souls of the other living beings of the East Sea Divine Kingdom were pulled out and thrown to Underworld Dragon. Underworld Dragon used the Yellow Springs to refine evil spirit. Jiang Chongkong almost wiped out all the places he passed. He did not let go of the East Sea Divine Kingdom, the West Wilderness Celestial Kingdom, or the West Wilderness Star Demon's planet. He gave the Star Saint's corpse to Underworld Dragon, and he kept the top-grade resources. A few days later, the human and dragon entered the West Wilderness Star Demon Kingdom. The Yellow Springs of Underworld Dragon were already filled with evil spirits. This speed was too fast. The Yellow Springs were unsealed, and they only needed to pass the test. In the Imperial City of the West Wilderness Headquarters, now let the Star Demon's 3 battle bodies kneel to welcome us. Jiang Chongkong smiled, and the power of the Imperial Heaven Scripture swept out, covering the Imperial City of the West Wilderness. The soul power swept out, and everything appeared everywhere it passed. No one noticed. Even the star demon with the 3 battle bodies could not sense the power of the imperial heaven scripture. Buzz. Suddenly, Jiang Changkong's expression changed. He brought the nether dragon into the starry sky passage and cursed, "Bastards, sooner or later, you'll all suffer." The West Wilderness Star Demon Kingdom actually had a near god. What happened to the near gods not interfering? Just as he guessed, what they said before was all bullsh*t. Others could kill them, and it was because the 3 battle bodies were not capable. If it really came to that, all the near gods would come out to protect them. Why don't you let the 3 battle bodies fight each other? What bullsh*t kingdom? Chapter 444. You've finally shown up, Jiang Changyue. A cold voice was heard as a figure chased into the Stargate. Kaboom! The Stargate exploded and an aura that reigned over all things in the world swept out. Unable to withstand it, the Stargate collapsed and the stars in the distance trembled. 2 figures, one in front and one behind, rushed out of the Stargate towards the dead stars in the distance. Jiang Changyue, you can't escape. Calm and confident words were spoken. The near god followed closely behind, taking a step forward and crossing the endless space. Jiang Changkong activated all 3 of his combat bodies, his speed explosively increasing. The near god's expression changed slightly. This speed was only slightly slower than him. Jiang Changkong passed 1 star with each step, just like when he trained his body to become a near god, going from the moon to the sun in 1 step. The near god was faster than him. While he couldn't catch up directly, he would be caught up sooner or later. What do I do? What do I do? This near god is too shameless. The Abyss Dragon was completely panicking. Near god was the peak of the universe. Anyone below the near god was an ant. Even the 3 combat bodies could not change this fact. What a joke. So a bunch of near gods are all vile people who go back on their word. Jiang Changkong cursed as he flew. You've already broken the rules. Return with me now and you'll be spared the pain. The near god sped up. The boundless power of the great Tao swept out. Some of the dead stars could not withstand it and were completely destroyed. Rules? What a joke. Who made the rules? What right do you have? Jiang Changkong sneered and increased his speed by a notch. We are the rules of the universe. The near god's tone was calm without a trace of arrogance, as if he was stating a fact. The near god was the strongest existence in the universe and could make the rules of the universe. You want them to open the gate of immortality, but do you know that those who open the gate of immortality will most likely die? Jiang Changkong said coldly. How do you know this? The near god's expression finally changed. This was a secret that even the supreme combat physiques did not know about. If they knew that it was a dead end, would those ultimate combat bodies still open the immortal gate? Jiang Changkong said coldly, the 8th Sea King has already left a message. You near gods want to step on their corpses to become immortals. Originally, I wanted to spare your life, but now it seems that you can only die. The near god Elite's body glowed with a dark light, and he finally transformed into a humanoid star demon. His power increased once again. An aura that did not belong to the great Tao of the human world spread out, and the surrounding starry sky shattered. Getting close to the star demon, its speed increased by almost 10%. The distance between the 2 of them was rapidly closing. Stay here. The sharp claws descended, and a mighty force that was close to that of a god that reigned above all great Taos came crashing down. Jiang Changkong's expression changed. He unsheathed his Tai-In saber and activated his 3 great Taoist forms to the maximum. Boundless Tao patterns manifested, illuminating the starry sky and gathering blade radiance. The power of billions of stars, the endless power of the great path. Rumble! A mighty force that was close to divinity descended, and the saber light exploded. The powerful force landed on Jiang Changkong's body. Crack! His body cracked and his bones broke. The 3 great Taos were no match for the might of a near god. 3 great war bodies. You are indeed very strong, but a near god is already a god walking among the human world. Near god's star demon's movements paused, and some fragments flew out of his arm. Near god? Aren't I still injured? Jiang Chongkong held the Tai Yin saber tightly, and his cracked body quickly healed. Those fragments were from the death heavenly saber. A near god would also be injured, but it was just a stronger martial artist. You are indeed amazing, but it's over. Near god's star demon shouted coldly, and his mighty force rose again. His sharp claws were like stars, and they enveloped the star region where Jiang Chongkong was. You can't do it! Jiang Chongkong snorted coldly, and the four great Daos rose. Tai Yin, Tai Yang, and Power Pattern Great Tao gathered three lights. Tai Chi could contain everything. All four great Taoist forms were activated. Boundless might spread out, and an aura that reigned over everything spread out, not any weaker than the might of a near god. Buzz! The Tai Yin saber trembled violently, and a dazzling beam of moonlight shot out. The Tai Yin Great Tao that ruled over everything was awakened. Tai Yin Deity Artifact. As Jiang Chongkong's four great Taoist forms were activated, the sealed divine might was finally activated. The bone-chilling cold did not belong to the mortal world. The surrounding space was frozen, and a thin layer of ice appeared on the near-god beast's claw. Boom! Two terrifying forces collided, and the terrifying power shattered everything, including the nearby stars. One was a deity that walked the mortal world infinitely close to a real deity. The other was the four great Taoist forms, which were far more powerful than the most powerful beings, and a deity weapon that could activate part of its divine might. Both sides flew back at the same time. Golden blood flowed in the space like a river. The near-god demon's claw still had the remnant power of a deity artifact, and it was difficult to remove it immediately. Near-god star demon's expression was extremely gloomy. Jiang Chongkong flew back a long distance, and the Tai Yin saber released boundless divine might. Tao patterns shone in the starry sky, and the will of a deity drifted. A near god is so weak. Jiang Chongkong's voice was cold. Then, I won't be polite. Today I will kill a near god. The body under the black robe had already cracked, but it healed in an instant. Sunset saber, moon shadow. The Tai Yin and Tai Yang formed the saber light, and billions of stars formed the saber. Tai Chi and power patterns appeared at the same time. He stepped into the peak of Star Saint, and the 11 power patterns roared together. Jiang Chongkong's martial arts. The near-god star demon's eyes became even colder, and he pushed the near-god Tao to the limit. Ha, you imprisoned Chongkong. I will take revenge for that. The Tai Yin saber released celestial might again, and the saber intent that could destroy everything, and an extreme cold aura froze everything. The Tai Yin saber fell again. This time there was no explosion, only endless cold air. The cold aura spread along the beast's claw, and the entire star demon was frozen. Jiang Chongkong's eyes were cold, and the Tai Yin saber flew straight toward the star demon's heart. Rumble! The near-god Tao shook, and it barely broke the cold aura. The near-god star demon's body instantly retreated, and he turned into a beam of light and escaped into the distance. He ran away just like that? The abyss dragon was slightly shocked. Was the near-god star demon so scared? Jiang Chongkong put away the Tai Yin saber, and without saying a word, he left with the star demon. The near-god star demon that had escaped far away was covered in moon-chill ice. The extreme chill was currently destroying his near-god Great Tao. It was hard to get rid of. Immortal artifact, damn it, he can actually activate an immortal artifact. The near-god star demon shouted angrily, and he hurriedly used the near-god Tao to lower the cold aura. Billions of stars away, Jiang Chongkong's 4 great Daos intertwined, and he got rid of wisps of near-god aura. A near-god really isn't easy to kill. Jiang Chongkong's face was gloomy. If I didn't activate the Tai Yin saber's power, I might not have been able to defeat him. The star demon's strength should be at the early stage of near God. Even if he activated the 4 great Tao bodies, he could only fight on par with him. With the help of the Tai-In saber, he could suppress him, but he couldn't kill him. That's already very good. The legend that those below near God cannot challenge near God has been broken by you. The Abyss Dragon said excitedly, once you step into near God, you will also be invincible among your peers. That's not what I want. Next, we will take a detour, and I will bring you to the immortal desolate with all my strength. Jiang Chongkong muttered, we will not show ourselves during this period of time. Let them do whatever they want. Chapter 445. It's a pity that the near God ran fast enough. The Abyss Dragon was still a little reluctant to let go. It wanted to kill that god. You should be glad that he ran, Jiang Chongkong said helplessly. If more near gods are drawn out, we'll be in big trouble. If more near gods were drawn out, they wouldn't be able to run even if they wanted to. The star demon couldn't be blamed for being timid. Even Jiang Chongkong himself couldn't handle the Tai-In Chi. If the Tai-In blade's sealed divine power could be fully unleashed, the near god might not even dare to take a blow. Our country might be doomed. I don't know what's going on in the immortal desolate. No ultimate combat body has come out. Jiang Chongkong sighed. With our strength, we can't stop a group of near gods for now. Then we can lead the Yellow Springs to support a country. Underworld Dragon pondered, should we hide behind the scenes? Maybe that's the only way. Jiang Chongkong sighed with a hint of helplessness. Now that he was exposed, he might have to face a group of near gods. Although he wanted to do something flashy and turn around to cleanse the star demons of the western wilderness, he still wanted to make a fortune. But he gave up on that idea. If the other side sent another near god, he would have to stay. Half a month later, Jiang Chongkong vanished without a trace again. The universe was vast and there were no clues. Even the near gods didn't know where he was. The near god star demon had returned from his secondary body. The moon chi on his body had yet to dissipate. Only with the help of a group of near gods was he able to extinguish the power of moon. Could it be that one of the 3 great combat bodies became a near god and was able to injure you? A near god star demon said in surprise. It's Jiang Chongyue. He can use the 4 great combat bodies to fight. The near god star demon's expression was extremely ugly. The Tai-In blade in his hand is a real immortal artifact. It can even unleash divine power. You were injured by an immortal artifact? The near god's expression changed. If it wasn't for the immortal artifact, I would definitely kill him. The god star demon said fiercely. Moreover, he has already been to the 8th Ocean King's homeland. We are still a step too late. Hua Tianrui's expression was a little complicated. Where is he now? I don't know. Previously, he attacked the great emperor of the western wilderness because he wanted to obtain resources. Also, Jiang Chongyue knows that opening the gate of immortality will lead to death. The star demon said coldly. Don't let the people on Earth know about this. Hua Tianrui's eyes flickered, and she said in a deep voice, let's go find Jiang Chongkong. We can't keep Jiang Chongyue alive, a near god said. His secondary body was still in seclusion in the Sea of Flowers and was unaware of their conversation. Looking at the group of deities approaching, the secondary body was a little puzzled. Everyone, why are you all in the mood to visit me? We came to you because of Jiang Chongyue. Hua Tianrui pondered and said, Jiang Chongyue has left the homeland of the 8th Ocean King. Where do you think he will go next? How would I know? Jiang Chongkong was a little amused. I have been locked up here all this time. Do you think I can predict whether or not I have communicated with him? Jiang Chongkong, you better tell us, the near god star demon said with a gloomy face. He had just been injured, and he wanted to get back at Jiang Chongkong. What do you want me to say if I don't know? Jiang Chongkong was not afraid at all. He looked at the star demon mockingly. Maybe, in the next moment, Jiang Changyue will destroy your western wilderness. Ying Liuli and the others walked over and stood beside Jiang Changkong. She said lightly, I also think it is possible to destroy western wilderness. This is for everyone to become immortals, for the entire starry sky. Jiang Changyue has already affected the balance. Hua Tianrui frowned and said, Don't tell me you don't want to become an immortal. Of course I want to, whether it is for myself or for everyone. It's just that I really don't know where Jiang Changyue is. Jiang Changkong sighed softly. He looked at the unfriendly near gods and said softly, Why don't you let me out? Then why don't you guess where Jiang Changyue might go? Let Jiang Changkong go? Impossible. One Jiang Changyue outside was enough of a headache. How could they let another Jiang Changkong out? Moreover, Jiang Changyue knew too much. They definitely couldn't let him stay. Even if Jiang Changkong in front of them had become a target that must be killed. But now was not the time. They needed to use Jiang Changkong to lure Jiang Changyue out. The starry sky is vast. How can I guess? Your flower ocean kingdom? Or your territory? Jiang Changkong spread his hands. You are making things difficult for me. Hua Tianrui sighed softly and led everyone to the side. Ying Liuli, please come here. Ying Liuli frowned and patted Jiang Changkong on the shoulder. Don't worry, I will protect your life. The other near gods of earth nodded, indicating that they would protect him as well. Whether it was Nan Yuyang or Jiang Changkong, they were both from earth. Jiang Changkong was the most promising to open the gate of immortality. Of course, they had to protect him. With many near gods gathered, Hua Tianrui said again, I plan to use Jiang Changkong to lure Jiang Changyue out. We don't agree, Ying Liuli and the others said coldly. Listen to me first. I'm just releasing the news, Hua Tianrui said calmly. If Jiang Changkong is in danger of dying, Jiang Changyue will definitely appear. At that time, we just need to arrange people. Are you really just going to capture him alive? Ying Liuli was a little shaken. Of course, this time I personally found Jiang Changyue. I didn't have the heart to kill him, so I let him escape. The star demon's face didn't even change when he lied. Ying Liuli and the others looked at each other and agreed. If the near gods really wanted to kill, no one under the near gods should be able to escape. Thinking of this, these people probably wouldn't kill him. The near gods of earth agreed. In the sea of flowers, Jiang Changkong closed his eyes again. On the other side, the star gate of the immortal wilderness was already in front of them. Jiang Changkong and the Abyss Dragon were about to pass through the star gate when a blue light flashed and directly engulfed them. The towering city emitted blue light. There was a palace. On the throne, a woman in a dragon robe, wearing a crown on her head and long blue hair draped over her back. She had a delicate face and a towering chest. On the blue scepter, there was a sapphire inlaid on it and water vapor filled the air. We meet again, human Jiang Changkong. She walked down the throne barefoot. Her tall and slender body was a few centimeters taller than Jiang Changkong. Mermaid King, I really can't hide anything from you. Jiang Changkong's heart skipped a beat. The Taiyin saber trembled slightly. The scepter landed on the Taiyin saber and the Mermaid King said softly, This is something that Brother Ba left behind. It's not for you to use against me. Jiang Changkong frowned slightly. It seems that the Mermaid King's injury has completely recovered. The Mermaid King had a deep relationship with the Yellow Spring clan. It was not surprising that he knew the Yellow Spring clan sealed itself in the immortal wilderness. However, he didn't expect that the Mermaid King would be waiting here for them. I still have to thank you for your help. If it weren't for you, I would still be recuperating. The Mermaid King put away the scepter and said softly, I came to you to give you a new identity. New identity? Jiang Changkong raised his eyebrows. What do you mean? The strongest battle body from the immortal wilderness. The Mermaid King smiled. How about this identity? Jiang Changkong pondered and said, You seem to know a lot about the immortal wilderness. Chapter 446. The Mermaid King waved her hand and the air rippled. A cracked golden bone appeared. An ethereal aura spread from the bone, as if it was above all living things. A weak power of 3 lights floated out from the golden bone. It did not look like the bone of a living being. The Mermaid King tapped the bone with her scepter. The air rippled and a woman appeared. Her face could not be seen clearly. She was dressed in white and her body was illusory. 1,000 years ago, a near god was born in the immortal wilderness. They were pursuing the 3 great combat bodies. The Mermaid King said calmly, "She opened the gate of immortality, and only this bone is left." Jiang Changkong's expression was solemn. How powerful was she when she was alive? In terms of power, she was the most powerful, be it in the past or now. The Mermaid King said indifferently, "How do you think you are compared to her? If I became a peak near god, I would be above her." Jiang Changkong said honestly, "But I don't have much confidence after seeing what happened to her. A near god with the 3 great combat bodies ended up like this." Jiang Changkong thought that he was unparalleled, but he did not dare to be too confident. "Only I know about this. They only know that opening the gate of immortality with the 3 great combat bodies means death. Only by opening the gate of immortality can one succeed." A cold look appeared on the Mermaid King's exquisite face. "But the fusion method will not succeed." "Will not succeed." Jiang Changkong's expression changed. "Isn't there a fusion method for the 3 palaces? It's incomplete. It's just a defective product deduced by the immortal god. If it really succeeds, in your words, it will be a blessing from the ancestors." The Mermaid King said indifferently. Jiang Changkong's expression darkened. "So, opening the gate of immortality was all fake?" The underworld dragon could not help but crawl out and ask, "Then how can the gate of immortality be opened? A real immortal god, or the last one with the 3 great combat bodies," the Mermaid King said indifferently. "Didn't you say that it can't be opened?" Jiang Changkong was even more confused. "With the starry sky, it can be opened." The Mermaid King's face turned frosty. "Do you think these celestial kingdoms and god kingdoms are their entertainment? Mermaid King, please tell me everything." Jiang Changkong cupped his hands and said. After a moment of silence, the King of Mermaids said, "When there is only one cultivator with the 3 great combat bodies left in the universe, the last cultivator of the 3 great battle physique would be able to summon the 3 great immortal palaces after unifying the universe. The 3 great immortal palaces contained 3 great light formations. Once they covered the entire starry sky, they could forcefully borrow power. He borrowed the power of countless living beings in the starry sky to forcibly fuse them together to form the most powerful combat body. And this fusion was only temporary. It should be enough to open the immortal gate. However, the backlash from opening the immortal gate would affect the entire cosmos, causing it to be destroyed. The most powerful war body would also die. After all, it was only a temporary fusion and couldn't last long. Those close to the immortal realm hid under the formation and used the formation to block the disaster. They took the opportunity to ascend to the immortal realm and become immortal god. As for the future starry sky and the countless living beings, they were already gone. The starry sky and living beings no longer existed. They were all the cornerstones for them to become immortals and gods. Why would an immortal god leave behind such a method? Jiang Changkong's expression was ugly. This was equivalent to destroying the entire starry sky. "I don't know. The Dragon King told me that this was the last resort." The King of Mermaids shook her head. She also didn't understand. This person in the immortal wilderness couldn't bear to destroy the starry sky to achieve himself, so he chose to open the immortal gate alone. "So what you want me to do is to forcefully fuse them?" Jiang Changkong frowned. "What will you choose? Even with the 3 light formation, your friends won't be able to survive unless they reach the immortal realm." The King of Mermaids looked at him, waiting for his answer. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. If I answer and forcefully fuse them, the King of Mermaids will probably kill me here, right? The King of Mermaids nodded expressionlessly. I want you to destroy the three light formation. Even if you can't become an immortal, you can't destroy this part of the starry sky. You underestimate me. If this person in the immortal wilderness can open the immortal gate alone, why can't I? Jiang Chongkong said coldly with a proud expression. He could open the immortal gate after he became an immortal god. The King of Mermaids nodded in satisfaction. All right, I'll wait for that day to come. If you dare to destroy this part of the starry sky, even if you become an immortal, I can still deal with you. Destroying this part of the starry sky is also my enemy, Jiang Chongkong said firmly. I won't tolerate it. I'll send you to the Yellow Springs lineage now, unseal the Yellow Springs, and participate in this game, the King of Mermaids said. Wait a minute, King of Mermaids, how did you recognize me? Jiang Chongkong asked curiously. Others could not tell at a glance, but the King of Mermaids seemed to know everything. He called out his real identity the moment he arrived. Moreover, he was sure that it was not a guess. It told me. The King of Mermaids knocked the Tai-in saber with his scepter. Back then, I spent a lot of time with it. Thank you for answering my question. It seems like the Dragon King has many tricks up his sleeve, Jiang Chongkong said with a smile, but he kept his guard up. None of these old monsters were easy to deal with. If they were to fall out in the future, he would break this immortal artifact first. I'll cover for you from the near deities. It's been 1,000 years, and no one remembers this person. The King of Mermaids pointed his finger, and the bone entered Jiang Chongkong's body like a stream of light. The near deities don't know. You can use this identity without worry. After the bone entered his body, Jiang Chongkong's body had a special aura, an aura that belonged to the immortal barren land. What's your name? Other than Jiang Chongkong and Jiang Chongyue, it's up to you. The King of Mermaids waved his hand and the void rippled. A golden stargate appeared in front of them. The King of Mermaids is indeed rich. Why don't you give me some more resources? Jiang Chongkong said expectantly. The King of Mermaids did not say anything. A force stuffed him and the underworld dragon into the stargate. What a stingy mermaid! Jiang Chongkong cursed in his mind and left quickly. The King of Mermaids' strength was not something a near deity could compare to. He had lived since the immortal era, and was definitely a near deity. 2 days later, the man and the dragon passed through the stargate. In a starfield, thick death energy lingered and the patterns of the Grand Tao were hidden in the void. The underworld dragon's body was filled with death energy and corpse energy. Whoosh, whoosh. All kinds of strange roars were heard, and countless evil ghosts floated in the yellow spring. Buzz. The patterns of the Grand Tao appeared in the void, and an eerie gate appeared with countless ghosts dancing inside. The gate of Yellow Spring had opened. Roar. The underworld dragon roared and brought Jiang Chongkong into the gate of Yellow Spring. Thick ghost energy surged. Yellow Spring underworld dragon? The ghosts fled in fear. They were just ordinary ghosts, and they had no problem dealing with ordinary living beings, but they only felt fear when facing a Star Saint underworld dragon. Even Jiang Chongkong's imperial scripture of heaven couldn't reach the end of the boundless dark space. Roar. Long howls rang out as netherworld dragons flew out one after another. Huge ghostly shadows appeared in the air. Death energy surged and roared in response to the underworld dragon. Are the clansmen from outside here? A voice sounded like thunder. Above his head, a huge face appeared like the curtain of the sky. The day of the Yellow Springs release has arrived. Many ghosts appeared, and their auras were terrifying to the extreme. The underworld dragon trembled. There were many more powerful than it. Jiang Chongkong looked at the face in the sky with a serious expression. It was ancient and close to a deity. Definitely. The Yellow Spring's strength was far more terrifying than he had imagined. He wondered if, for the sake of the Nether Dragon and the Sea King, he could build a nation with the help of the Yellow Springs. Chapter 447. After countless years of recuperation, the self-sealed Huang Quan bloodline had become shockingly powerful. At the very least, Jiang Chongkong had never seen a race that could compare to the Yellow Springs. The Yellow Springs was divided into two paths, the Ghost Path and the Corpse Path. In the Tao of Ghosts there were 4 people who were close to true gods. The most powerful one was Ghost Mother, who was close to true gods and was the best friend of the Mermaid King. Among them, there were nearly 100 Ghost Tao Star Sages. Then there was the Corpse Tao, which had 5 near-true gods. The strongest was the Netherworld Abyssal Dragon, which was also near true gods. There were over 100 Star Saints. Although this power might not be comparable to other celestial kingdoms, it was enough to thrash the celestial kingdoms of Earth. It could be said that the Yellow Springs bloodline was comparable to any celestial nation's forces. 9 deities, close to 200 Star Sages. However, it was not easy to gain their support. The Dusty Palace was opened, and 9 near gods sat on either side of it. Nobody dared to sit on the throne, because that was the position of the Lord of the Yellow Springs, the Yama King of Hell. Even the 9 true gods were not qualified to sit on it. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon stood in the center of the palace and were watched by the 9 gods. Over the countless years, some of our clansmen have returned. Do you think you can become the master of the Yellow Springs? It was a woman with a deathly pale face. Her eyes glowed with a dark green light. This was the Ghost Mother, who was close to the limit of God. The other young man's eyes were suffused with dense corpse energy. Little fellow, I will not agree with you just because we are both of the Nether Dragon bloodline. This was an Abyss Dragon that was close to the limits of a god, and it had taken human form. The Abyss Dragon was a little timid, and could not help but shrink behind Jiang Chongkong. The faces of the 9 deities were filled with disappointment. How could such a coward become the master of the Yellow Springs? Jiang Chongkong also felt a little embarrassed. He brought up the Abyss Dragon. What if it can help you all become immortals? 3 great battle bodies? The 9 near deities sneered. The one in the Immortal Desolate had already used his life to test the 3 great battle bodies. Only death awaited him. They no longer had any expectations for the 3 great battle bodies. In fact, they had even given up on the thought of immortal ascension. Kid, if it wasn't for the sake of the Mermaid King, we wouldn't even want to see you. Mother Ghost Mother said eerily, My Yellow Springs clan, even if we don't become immortals, we can live forever in this dead zone. The Yellow Springs bloodline was a race of death to begin with. They were blessed by nature and were born with a long lifespan. Of course, they would still die of old age, but they would live longer. That is why you all have long life, but not eternal life. Your lifespan will eventually come to an end. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently, No matter how much I say, what will make you leave this place and follow me to unify the starry sky? Or are we just going to wait for death here and watch as those near gods perish here? The Yellow Spring bloodline has a way to protect themselves, a near deity said calmly. If you want us to support you, that's fine. In the future, the Yellow Springs will rule the universe, the Nether Dragon said calmly. Ghost Mother added, That's right. If that's the case, we can help you. Little brother Kong? The Abyss Dragon looked at Jiang Chongkong. He could not join the conversation at all. Brother Long, I'll take my leave first. If you want to stay, then stay. After Jiang Chongkong finished speaking, he turned around and left. The 9 near deities were stunned, a little confused. You're leaving just like that? You don't even want to talk? Aren't you here to ask for help? Brat, once you walk out of this door, you will no longer have the support of the Yellow Springs bloodline, Ghost Mother said coldly. You're really interesting. I'm here to help you become immortals. This is a great opportunity. You're turning me away, as if I'm begging you. Jiang Chongkong's expression was cold as he looked at them coldly. In this world, those who are strong can survive anywhere. Without you, I'm just changing my way of cultivation. The 9 near deities frowned. With your strength, can you see through me? Jiang Changkong put his hands behind his back, and his aura was restrained. The 9 near deities' expressions changed slightly. They really could not see through Jiang Changkong right now. He was like an ordinary person. The Taiji scripture was a realm higher, so they could not see through his cultivation. Unless an immortal came, they would not be able to see through him. Jiang Changkong said indifferently, I can find a random country and become the Grand Marshal. Who will know? As long as I gather enough resources and become a near deity, this universe will still be mine. The difference between a near deity is like heaven and earth, Ghost Mother said coldly. A near deity is enough. When this universe is destroyed, I will be able to protect myself with the power of the 3 lights. Jiang Changkong released the power of the 3 lights. When that time comes, I will be waiting for you in the celestial realm. Without the Yellow Springs bloodline, he would only be developing in a low profile for a while, and gathering resources would be slower. But it was not impossible. Opening the gate of immortality with the Tri-Light Grand Array and destroying the universe? The King of Mermaids was the most anxious, not him. The near deity Dark Dragon could not help but say, We can give you a chance, provided that you promise not to use the Tri-Light Grand Array. After unifying the universe, whether or not to use the array is up to you. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. If I say to use the array, will you do it? You want me to set up the formation alone? Unless there was something wrong with his brain, no one would do it alone. That's true. Then you pass the test, let's be clear. I'm giving you a chance, not the other way around. Jiang Changkong raised his head and said with disdain, I can live whether I want you or not. Why do I have to ask of you? The 9 near deities. Why was the Dark Dragon so cowardly and the humans it brought back so arrogant? Jiang Changkong was actually panicking. These were 9 near deities, and 2 of them were at the limit of the near deity level. They could kill him at any time, and he still wanted to trick them to help him get resources quickly. But he could not be weak. Once he was weak, he would really have to listen to them. By then, it would be a second celestial kingdom on Earth, and the throne would be no different from a puppet. Jiang Changkong looked down at the near deities. I will take you to conquer the universe. The corpses are yours, and the souls are yours. I only want some resources that you can't use, but I will give you endless land to build a paradise. The 9 near deities fell into deep thought. That seemed to be the case. They could transform the territory they conquered into the underworld. Apart from the Yellow Springs, who could survive there? I don't want to waste my breath. Since you can't figure it out, I won't say any more. Goodbye. After saying that, Jiang Changkong walked away. Come back. The 9 forces dragged Jiang Changkong back at the same time. Let's discuss about the Yellow Springs Celestial Kingdom. What Yellow Springs Celestial Kingdom? Jiang Changkong was confused. The near deity Dark Dragon said with a dark expression, We agreed to help you build a celestial kingdom and let you become the emperor. Yellow Springs Celestial Kingdom. Yellow Springs Celestial Kingdom doesn't sound good, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Mother Harpy frowned. Corpse Dao. Jiang Changkong, I feel like you still don't understand what I mean. Everyone, please understand. If I become the emperor, everyone in the Celestial Kingdom will listen to me. Those who don't will be killed. Jiang Changkong said coldly, If you don't agree, ask the Mermaid King to replace you. He suddenly wanted to kill this guy. What should he do? Jiang Changkong was very calm. If the Mermaid King wanted to stop the galaxy burial, he could only start with the 3 war bodies. As for gathering a group of near deities to fight against Hua Tianrui and the others, the near deities were going crazy from wanting to become immortals. Chapter 448. Abyss Dragon looked at the bewildered ancestral patriarchs and became more courageous. Brother Kong is right. The celestial nation cannot be reckless. We must listen to orders and not fight for power. That's how the celestial nation on Earth collapsed. Then tell me, what do you think? Hariti said calmly. Her coldness was gone. Jiang Chongkong glanced at the 9 near gods. They were all calm and didn't want to kill him. First, the Yellow Spring clan must listen to my orders and not go against them. We can't slaughter unrelated clans. Some neutral or small clans that didn't participate in the space war must not be affected. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. Continue, Abyss Dragon said. Second, including you, no one is allowed to interfere with my orders or go against them. If necessary, you near gods will have to help me block the other near gods. The 9 near gods nodded. No problem. We won't let those near gods get what they want. Third, destroy the West Baron Star Demon clan. You can have your territory. I only want resources. If there are people from Earth, save them if you can. If you can't, don't kill them. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. If I can do these 3 things, I will open the gate of heaven on my own in the future. Open the gate of heaven on your own? You still have that idea? Hariti snorted. Others can't, but it doesn't mean I can't, Jiang Chongkong said proudly. Abyss Dragon nodded. Brother Kong is very powerful. Don't think that you're just a peak star saint. When you came, you defeated a near god. The 9 near gods were shocked. The Mermaid King didn't tell them that. Even the 3 combat bodies 1,000 years ago couldn't fight a near god at the peak of the star saint level, let alone defeat one. Near gods could be said to have touched the realm of deities and gods. They were on another level. Jiang Chongkong's 4 Taoist forms shone. Countless Taoist patterns appeared like an ancient Tao. Even though I can't use my full power, the 3 Taoist forms will be invincible in the competition. Jiang Chongkong said confidently. This gave the 9 near gods some confidence. Feeling Jiang Chongkong's terrifying power, the 9 near gods were shocked and could no longer remain calm. He was truly invincible below divinity level, far surpassing the power of the 3 great combat bodies. Even after withdrawing the Taiji Great Tao, Jiang Chongkong's strength remained terrifying. To be able to cultivate the 3 great battle bodies to this level, you are indeed the first. Mother Ghost Mother stood up. I agree with your 3 points. With us around, Yellow Spring won't resist you. We agree as well. The 8 near gods stood up. The Nether Dragon added, Are we really not allowed to use the Yellow Springs deity kingdom? No, I have a better idea, Great Qin. Great Qin. In ancient times on Earth, there was a powerful and prosperous dynasty. The tyranny of the emperor suits me very well. But little brother Kong, Great Qin's 2nd generation will perish, the underworld dragon interrupted. When that time comes, I'll be in the immortal world. Where would I get a second life? Jiang Chongkong pursed his lips. He was probably going to die in this life. Why would he wait for a second life? What they needed to do was unify the universe and open the celestial gate. There was no such thing as a future. The 9 near gods nodded. They just needed to help the Mermaid King stop the universe from being destroyed and reap the benefits along the way. As for how long this deity kingdom would exist, they did not care. All right, wait for us to gather the army, unseal Yellow Spring and step out of the immortal desolate. The Nether Dragon said with a hint of excitement. After being sealed for so long, the 9 near gods. With such strength, shouldn't they go out and show it off? How long will it take for you to gather the army? Jiang Chongkong asked. Mother Ghost Mother said, About half a year. The ghost domain is a bit big and there are many ghosts and ghouls. It will take some time for us to rush back. Then let me see the resources you have accumulated over the years. Don't tell me you don't have any. After being sealed for so many years, I don't believe you haven't found any corpses or star crystals. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. The Nether Dragon's expression stiffened. We haven't even gotten any benefits. It's one thing to give you an army, but now we have to give you resources? I'm done being a great emperor. There's no sincerity at all. Jiang Chongkong clapped his hands and prepared to leave. F***ck. The 9 near gods were on the verge of collapse. The person the Mermaid King found was too unreliable. He just gave up without saying a word. You can have it. We have no use for it. Mother Ghost Mother really wanted to eat him. He hadn't done anything yet and he was already plundering their Yellow Spring resources. Jiang Chongkong finally smiled. We are all partners. If I improve, it will be of help to you all. Soon, the near gods sent the resources over. Many of them were not handled properly. Jiang Chongkong didn't care. He had the equipment and could handle it. Right, what identity do you plan to use? The Nether Dragon asked. I just thought of one. Let's call him Jiang Chongqing. Jiang Chongkong pondered and said, Aren't you telling them clearly that it's you? The 9 near gods had ugly expressions. Are you serious? Jiang Chongkong, Jiang Chongyue, Jiang Chongqing, you only changed one word? Don't worry. If they don't ask, we won't say. Lend me a Peak Star Saint corpse. Didn't they want Jiang Chongyue dead? It's fine as long as Jiang Chongyue is dead. As for hiding my identity, you should have a way to prevent them from finding out who I really am. Jiang Chongkong said lightly. All right, we'll do as you say. If anything goes wrong, you will take responsibility. The 9 near gods were helpless. The Mermaid King really sent them an ancestor. The near gods didn't dare to speak loudly. They were afraid that this guy would really give up. Even though they said that even if the galaxy was destroyed, the Yellow Spring branch would be able to protect themselves. But if they could really protect themselves, they probably wouldn't even care about the Mermaid King. Seeing the near gods leave, the Nether Dragon whispered, Brother Kong, you're amazing. Of course, when the time comes, I will make you the totem of the Great Qin Celestial Kingdom. You won't have to do anything and just enjoy the offerings. How about that? Jiang Chongkong said. That's good, that's good. The Nether Dragon clapped his claws. This suggestion was great. As expected of his brother. I'll go into seclusion first. When the Great Qin Celestial Kingdom is established and the expedition is over, you can go into seclusion. When I gather enough resources, you can replace me. The Nether Dragon didn't object. When the Peak Star Saint's corpse was sent over, Jiang Chongkong started to prepare it. It was just that this corpse was too weak compared to his Dao body. In order to make it more realistic, Jiang Chongkong added many materials to strengthen it. It barely withstood the 4 great Daos, but even so, it was still cracked. The Yellow Spring branch felt a heartache. The Tai Yin saber definitely couldn't be handed over. It would be suicide. Before he died, he would tell the near gods that they would never find it again. The rest would be handed over to the near gods to bring the corpse to its death. Jiang Chongkong went into seclusion in Yama Palace. The army and the dragon robe were handed over to the Yellow Spring branch to prepare. The Nether Dragon ran out to get closer to his clansmen. He also boasted about how good his relationship with Jiang Chongkong was. In the future, when the Celestial Kingdom was established, he could ask him for a good position. The prerequisite was that the corpse was of high quality and quantity. A group of Ghost Dao and Corpse Dao cultivators hurriedly handed over their collections. The near gods were worried that this celestial kingdom would be corrupted even before it was established. Moreover, it started from the great emperor and his brother. Why did they feel that Jiang Chongkong was even more useless than the celestial kingdom on earth? Chapter 449. But no matter what they thought, things were already set in stone. Right now they had no choice. Only Jiang Chongkong could help them establish a new celestial empire. The underworld dragon lineage had quite a lot of resources, no less than robbing the desolate forest of 1,000 years. More than 1 billion essence, energy, and spirit. Jiang Chongkong used a long time to deal with it. He even asked the underworld dragon and its new friend for help. After destroying the West Wilderness Star Demon, he would see how many resources a celestial kingdom had. If it was a lot, he wouldn't need to destroy 7 celestial kingdoms. If he wanted to become a near god, his hopes were on the various countries. The Yellow Springs lineage, on the other hand, had a lot of golden matter. Jiang Chongkong asked the underworld dragon where the golden matter came from. The underworld dragon replied that it opened the celestial gate. He thought of the golden light that appeared in the starry sky after the immortal god left the flood dragon king. It was this golden matter. Back then, the near god also said that it was inexhaustible. Jiang Chongkong really wanted to try it. He took the tiny blade and went to cut some back. The underworld dragon pulled him back decisively, not letting him die. Even near gods couldn't act recklessly there. The golden matter in the starry sky was fought down by the ancient near gods with the 3 celestial palaces. Because of this, many near gods died. The 3 immortal desolate battle bodies were killed by the golden matter. Once one attacked the golden matter, they would suffer the corresponding backlash. If one was not strong enough, they wouldn't be able to retreat. The 3 immortal desolate battle bodies didn't retreat in time and attack too deeply. The backlash was too terrifying. Jiang Chongkong memorized this information. He planned to try it after he became a near god. Although opening the celestial gate was dangerous, the benefits were great. Maybe he would become a god or immortal as he opened it. The Yellow Springs army used the underworld dragon as their totem. The underworld dragon was very excited. The other near gods were dissatisfied but didn't say anything. After all, the underworld dragon and Jiang Chongkong had a good relationship. The underworld dragon also used his name, Jiang Zhangming. The underworld dragon had no objections because it had no parents and was born naturally. Half a year passed in a flash. The true god's plan was very effective. They lured Jiang Chongyue out and killed her on the spot. Unfortunately, the Tai-yin saber didn't appear, causing them to feel somewhat disappointed and unwilling. Because of the humiliation, Huang Qianlin of the East Sea Divine Nation led an army to attack the immortal nation of Earth. Because the Golden Feather race was still holding on, they were still able to hold on for now. They weren't completely wiped out, but they were slowly being pushed back. The Star Demon clan of the West Wilderness also mobilized an army to join the East Sea Divine Kingdom. It was the same for the West Sea Immortal Empire. Many factions from the Divine Wilderness joined the various nations, but no one joined the Earth Immortal Empire. In the Yellow Springs of Immortal Desolate, banners fluttered in the wind as an army gathered. In this death domain that was filled with dense death energy, there was now a palace with immortal energy lingering around it. This was left behind by the cultivator with the 3 great battle bodies. It was originally damaged, but it was repaired by the Yellow Spring lineage. They also set up a 3-light great formation that was close to god level. In Yen Luodian, Jiang Chongkong had awakened. Jiang Chongkong, Star Saint Peak Top Tier Middle Grade Martial Arts, Indestructible Golden Body, Perfected, 857, 500 000/857, 500 000 Tai Chi Sutra, Perfected, 1/857, 500 000 Sun Sutra, Perfected, 1/857, 500 000 Moon Sutra, Perfected, 1/857, 500 000 Death Heavenly Blade, Perfected, 1/857, 500 000 Sky Imperial Scripture, Perfected, 1/857, 500 000 Cloud Tao, Perfected, 1/857, 500 000 Top Tier Middle Grade Array Art, Battle Body Star Formation Incomplete Perfected, 1/857, 500 000 Essence, Energy and Spirit, 3633515888. By now, Jiang Chongkong didn't lack the 3-light great formation anymore. The Immortal Desolate had some left behind by the cultivator with the 3 great battle bodies. However, upgrading the battle body star formation could also increase his power, so he kept it. If it really didn't work, he could give up on upgrading it in the future. After putting away the treasures, the underworld dragon sensed something and came to the front of Yen Luodian, shouting, "The great emperor has come out of seclusion. The army is ready to move." Ghost Mother floated in the air and said in a sinister voice, "Bring the dragon robe, immortal crown, and summon the Yama ghost mask." A star sage ghost raised a dragon robe, a crown, and a green mask with sharp fangs on it. The door of Yen Luodian opened, and the dragon robe flew out and landed on Jiang Changkong's body. This dragon robe wasn't the underworld dragon, but it was embroidered with a divine dragon like the one outside. The crown was a top treasure of the Star Saint, but he couldn't see through the green mask. This is a deity artifact of the Yellow Spring branch. Although its power has been greatly reduced, it can still resist the prying of a near divinity. The Nether Dragon appeared and explained. "Then, let's go and conquer Shi Huang." Jiang Changkong put on the mask and crown, and a powerful Dao aura swept out. The power of 3 lights shot into the sky. The Yellow Spring branch welcomes the great emperor. With a roar, countless Yin soldiers knelt down on one knee. Jiang Changkong rose into the sky, and a peak Star Saint Nether Dragon flew over and carried him in the air. The endless Yellow Spring Yin soldiers were filled with death energy, ghost energy, and corpse energy, which was enough to destroy the sun and the moon. "Great Emperor, the Star Passage has been built. It leads to a planet in the east of Shi Huang." A mid-stage Star Saint Ghost Cultivator said respectfully, "The Yellow Spring branch has sent people to gather information. Shi Huang is attacking Earth. The eastern defense line is weak, so it's the best place for us to attack. Great Emperor, please allow me to lead the Yellow Spring Corpse Dao." A Star Saint with a green face and fangs asked. The Yellow Spring Corpse Dao is obviously the Nether Dragon. The Nether Dragon under Jiang Changkong's feet glared at him. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. The Great Qin has just been established, and the Yellow Spring has just appeared. I will lead the army personally, and the Corpse Dao and Ghost Dao will go together. Your Majesty, how can you go personally? The Yellow Spring branch was shocked. If something happened to you, what would we do? Did you forget what I said? Don't go against my orders. This is the first time, so I won't hold it against you. Jiang Changkong's expression was cold. Go and destroy Shi Huang. Yes, destroy Shi Huang. Someone from the Yellow Springs bloodline shouted. The 9 near deities were confused. Destroy Shi Huang? There are more than 2,000 Star Saints in Shi Huang right now. Are you sure you can defeat them with just the 3 combat bodies? Jiang Changkong rode the Nether Dragon and entered the Stargate first. The Yellow Spring army followed closely behind. As for whether they could destroy Shi Huang in one battle, Jiang Changkong wasn't sure either. If the near deities intervened, it definitely wouldn't work. Mother Harpy floated beside him. Great Emperor, isn't it a bit too hasty to destroy Shi Huang in one battle? Should we slow down? We can't. Once we slow down, the near deities will react, and we won't be able to destroy them. Jiang Changkong's tone was cold as he explained, "What I want is to destroy Shi Huang before they can react and start the war. Leave the near deities in Shi Huang to us." Mother Harpy pondered and said, "Ever since Jiang Changyue started, the near deities couldn't help but join the fray. That's why they haven't started fighting yet. Because they want to give the 3 combat bodies time to become near deities. If it ends too early, they won't be able to open the gate of immortality." Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Mother Harpy nodded. The invisible pressure is forcing them to become near deities first. This is what the near deities want. Jiang Changkong sneered. In that case, he would directly ignite this war. Chapter 450. He had already figured out the nature of this group of near gods. They said the near gods wouldn't come out and let them kill each other. But in the end, he only kidnapped Desolate Thousand Forest and extorted some resources from him. Then, the near gods came out and wanted to kill him. They went even further and arranged for near gods to stay in the Western Wilderness Imperial Palace. Other celestial kingdoms probably had near gods too. What about the battle physique being killed, and the near gods not being fit to become immortals? If that was the case, then his second body wouldn't have been locked up. He could laugh in the end because those with weaker battle physiques were not his match. But the truth was that once this balance was broken, he would be targeted by the near gods. The underworld dragon roared and passed through the Stargate. Ghost Mother accompanied him to protect him. The green-fanged mask flowed with a mysterious aura. He wore a dragon robe and no one knew his true identity. He also had the aura of the immortal Barren Land on him and the Yama mask. No one would be able to tell his true identity unless he exposed himself. Roar. The dragon's roar resounded through the entire planet. Jiang Chongkong stood proudly on the dragon's head and said, "No need to stop. Charge to Western Wilderness." "What's that?" The star demon roared and wanted to charge forward. Boom. The power of 3 lights exploded and spread across the entire planet, engulfing all the star demon. Countless star demon perished. Their bodies and souls were preserved, but they were slightly damaged. Logistics personnel, clean up the battlefield. We will charge to Western Wilderness Imperial Palace. Jiang Chongkong urged the underworld dragon to enter the Stargate again. He had destroyed a planet alone. Without the 3 battle physiques and a near god, no one would be able to withstand a single move from Jiang Chongkong. Even if he had the 3 great combat physiques, he would at most be able to withstand a few moves from the current him. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The Yellow Springs people roared excitedly. He destroyed a planet just like that? Jiang Chongkong's speed was very fast. A star was directly destroyed, and even the news had spread out. The Western Wilderness Star Demon had yet to react. 4 days later, after losing several stars in a row, the news finally got out. Immortal Desolate, Yellow Springs, the Immortal Desolate region, doesn't have a peerless battle body. Inside the Western Wasteland Imperial Palace, the Star Demon Great Emperor roared as he stared coldly at the star sages of the various races. "Your Majesty, it looks like the Yellow Springs bloodline hid the news and waited until now," a peak star saint said respectfully. "Master of the Water Vein, I confer upon you the title of Marshal and give you an army of 1,000,000. 3 peak star saint battleships. Can you stop the Yellow Springs vein?" The Star Demon Great Emperor stared coldly at a blue-haired woman. "I, Shuiyu, will destroy the Yellow Springs." The Water Veins master, Shuiyu, a peak star saint expert, was overjoyed when she heard this. Ever since he joined the Western Wilderness Divine Kingdom, he had not made any contributions. This was an opportunity. With 3 peak star sacred battleships, a few star sacred battleships, and himself, even if they couldn't destroy the Yellow Springs, they could at least stop it. The Star Demon Emperor was still a little worried. "Master of the Metal Vein, Black Scale, you too assist Marshal Waterheart." "Yes, Your Majesty," a Star Demon and a peak star saint of the Metal Vein replied respectfully. This lineup was not bad. All 3 of them were peak star saints, and there would be 3 more on the battleships. Including the battleships, it would be equivalent to 9 peak star saints. Without near divinity, it would be difficult to find an opponent with this strength. The 3 received the order and drove the battleships into the Stargate, heading towards the battlefield. On the other side, Jiang Chongkong had just destroyed a planet. "Your Majesty, the news has spread. What do we do next?" The Nether Dragon asked. "Continue to kill. I've said it before, we will destroy Western Wilderness in one battle." Jiang Chongkong's expression was indifferent. "Enter the Stargate." The Nether Dragon roared and charged into the Stargate with him again. A portion of the Yellow Springs logistics team was left behind to modify the planets and turn them into a paradise of death. "Your Majesty, should we change the way we fight? My Yellow Springs vein hasn't even done anything. You're the one taking care of everything." Mother Harpy hesitated. "I'm not trying to contradict you. I just feel that it doesn't match your status as a great emperor. She could only negotiate with this great emperor in a friendly manner. He could quit at the slightest disagreement. With the merfolk king's face on top of that, even a near divinity like her could only endure. The first step for the three great combat bodies to enter the galaxy is to establish dominance. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. Back then, Earth's Nan Yuyang killed 4 peak star saints. I thought that was enough, but it's clearly not enough. Your Majesty wants to use Western Wilderness to establish dominance. Mother Harpy asked eerily. Only one country is qualified for me to establish dominance and for Yellow Springs to be famous, Jiang Chongkong said coldly. Mother Harpy nodded. The Yellow Springs vein awaits Your Majesty's orders. Since Jiang Chongkong wasn't hot-headed and had other ideas, there was no need to persuade him, because Jiang Chongkong's words made sense. Moreover, they were here to unify the galaxy or at least to destroy it. There was no telling how long it would take for the three great combat bodies to become near divinity. A day later, they passed through the Stargate and arrived at another galaxy. An endless army, 3 warships, and 6 peak star saints blocked their way. Yellow Springs Vein, it's fine if you disappear. We won't disturb each other. Why are you attacking the Western Wilderness Divine Kingdom? Shui Xian stood in front of the warship and asked coldly. Your Majesty, our people aren't here yet. Should we retreat? Mother Harpy asked. She couldn't interfere in a battle of this level. Since the start of the battle, it had always been Jiang Chongkong leading the Nether Dragon at the front. A bunch of ants. Kill them all. Jiang Chongkong said coldly. Kill! Roar. The Nether Dragon roared. The Peak Star Saint Nether Dragon turned into a 3,000-meter-long dragon and charged at the million-strong army. You're courting death. Kill them all. Shui Xian's expression was cold and murderous. The star demon charged at them. 3 beams of light shot into the sky and turned into 3 stars that poured down endless divine light. Wherever the Nether Dragon passed, the 3 beams of light followed. The star demon and humans were all turned into corpses. 3 great war physiques. You're personally taking action. The expressions of Shui Xian and the others changed drastically. This was too unconventional. How could a country's majesty personally take action? This is called the Imperial Army. Jiang Chongkong's Yama mask glowed with a horrifying light. Wherever it passed, high-level martial artists and star saints were all turned into corpses. As long as there was someone close to a true god supporting him, Jiang Chongkong dared to destroy a country all by himself. What **t celestial nation or divine nation? Without a true god, the entire nation was no match for him. Surrender! We surrender! Shui Xian and the other 2 screamed. They could surrender and wait for Western Wilderness to redeem them with resources. Under normal circumstances, their opponents would accept the surrender and extort large amounts of resources. Unfortunately, they met someone who didn't follow the rules. I don't accept surrender. Jiang Chongkong pressed in the air, and an invisible force spread. A bloody hole appeared in the foreheads of the 6 peak star saints and their bodies dissipated. The starry battleship's great Tao light beam fell, but it couldn't even break the divine light. Wherever the 3 beams of light passed, the battleship was torn apart, and the living beings inside turned into corpses. If it weren't for the Yellow Springs bloodline, he would have turned these people into ashes and disappeared. The million-strong army didn't even cause a ripple. They were all annihilated, but the news had also spread. Chapter 451. Western Wasteland Imperial Palace. The divine nation's great emperor's face was extremely ugly. Personally leading the army, not accepting surrender. Could it be that he had to lead the army himself? What the hell were these guys from the Immortal Desolate doing? Why did they only come out now? And they were too ruthless. Normally, if they could subdue someone, they would directly subdue them to strengthen their own forces. But the great sheen that came out of the Immortal Desolate did not do that. If they could kill them all, they would. If they couldn't, they would chase after them and kill them all. The Star Demon Emperor felt that his opponent this time had a hole in his head. Dear ministers, who is willing to destroy the Yellow Springs and destroy the Great Qin? The Star Demon Emperor scanned the audience. The audience was silent. Dozens of peak star saints dared not speak. They have the 3 great war bodies and are leading the army personally. Are we going to die? Among those present, only you can fight against them. Are you not going? The Star Demon Emperor's face was cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. These useless people. Each of them was more powerful than the other in their daily struggles for power and resources. Now that they were in trouble, none of them dared to go. I will lead the army personally, the Star Demon Emperor said through gritted teeth. Who made the 3 great war bodies to be the enemy? Your Majesty, you can't. A star demon at the peak of the Star Sages hurriedly stood up and advised, the Qin state is probably trying to lure the great emperor out. Yes, the Qin state must have planned this. Leading the army personally is likely to be a trap. The other peak star saints quickly advised. Don't be hot-headed and learn from them. What if they set up a divine array and wait for you to go in? Then what do you have? The Star Demon Emperor said coldly. Your Majesty, the divine ancestors mean to wait until the great emperor becomes a divine being before starting the war. We can inform the Qin state first and ask them to stop. The Star Demon Emperor said respectfully. What if the Qin state's great emperor doesn't agree? The Star Demon Emperor asked coldly. Your Majesty, if he doesn't agree, we will let them come. The Imperial Star is full of divine arrays. The Qin state's great emperor should be as strong as you. With the divine arrays, he will definitely die. The other peak star saints advised. What if he doesn't come in and surround the Imperial Star? The Star Demon Emperor was a little annoyed and sullen. If the other party could personally lead the troops into battle, why couldn't he? The people of Yellow Springs were also crazy. They actually allowed their great emperor to lead the charge. It was so tiring to fight with such a person. Great Emperor, there's a divine proximity formation around the Imperial Star. Even if we don't come in, we can still use the divine proximity formation to push the Imperial Star over. The Star Saints explained, when the time comes, we'll ally with the East Sea and West Sea to destroy Great Qin. Yes, Your Majesty, we still have 2 allies. The Star Sages finally remembered their 2 allies. The Star Demon Emperor's expression softened slightly, and he gradually calmed down. Then let's do this. I will contact the emperors of the 2 empires. Your Majesty is wise. Star Demon Emperor, I feel that you are mocking me. It was difficult to determine a winner among the 3 war physique. Fighting in someone else's territory was indeed disadvantageous to me. Just in case, I should contact the emperors of the 2 empires and have them send reinforcements to increase the divine proximity formation's power. I will be the first person to kill the 3 war physique. I will be the one to have the last laugh. The Star Demon Emperor felt a surge of pride. I will definitely be the one to become an immortal in the end. Having made his decision, he ordered the martial artists of the other empires to retreat. As a result, Jiang Chongkong was able to go on a rampage without being able to stop him. This star demon is too cowardly, Jiang Chongkong said disdainfully. On the other hand, he had looted quite a lot of resources recently. He didn't know how much these living beings had gotten, but there were actually 100 million resources. If they all retreated now, he and the Yellow Springs branch wouldn't be able to get anything. If he continued like this, the West Desolate Star Demon Empire's resources would definitely be enough for him to perfect a martial art and still have some left over. Also, their national treasuries were all their own. As for the Yellow Springs branch, they didn't need to share resources. In that case, what was the point of incorporating them? Everything would be his. Once he became an immortal, he could throw the resources he didn't need to the empires, his senior sisters, and the others. Many of these resources were top-grade herbs. Although there weren't any near divine proximity formation, the national treasury definitely had some. Who knew? He might be able to stack the 3 senior sisters into divine proximity formations. As he thought happily, Jiang Chongkong entered the Stargate again. This time, his destination was the West Desolate capital. 7 days later, Jiang Chongkong, the Nether Dragon, and Mother Ghostmother arrived at the West Desolate Imperial Planet. It was a planet covered by a divine proximity formation. The Imperial Palace radiated boundless divine power. The patterns of the Great Tao were like chains, stretching across the air. In the air, many star-sacred realm martial artists released their astral power to activate the formation's power. The Star Demon Emperor stood at the center of the Imperial Planet, his body filled with the power of the 3 lights. These melee great formations were all hybrid formations, not just single formations. Jiang Chongkong put his hands behind his back, not showing any fear. Even without using the 4 Tao forms, he could still beat everything. Only a pair of cold eyes could be seen under the green-fanged mask. West Desolate Ant, are you surrendering with your people? The Nether Dragon carried Jiang Chongkong into the air and confronted the Star Demon Emperor. I've been tolerating you for a long time because I didn't want you, the one with the 3 great combat bodies, to die young. The Star Demon Emperor's expression was dark. He said coldly, but not only did you not know what's good for you, you even wanted a foot after being given an inch. Today I'll give you one last chance. Take your Yellow Springs branch and get out of West Desolate. Then, pay 1,000,000 star-sacred resources and I'll pardon you. Jiang Chongkong fell silent. He felt that the Emperor wasn't just stupid, he was full of holes. I've already attacked your capital. How can you say you'll pardon me? I'm clearly more powerful than you, okay? The Star Demon doesn't deserve to live. 3 lights bloomed around Jiang Chongkong. One of the lights protected the Nether Dragon and brought him into the spatial tunnel. I will destroy West Desolate alone. Ant, you've completely angered me. The Star Demon Emperor roared. He could no longer suppress the killing intent and excitement in his heart. He wanted to be the first emperor to kill the one with the 3 great combat bodies. The most powerful emperor. The clothes god array bloomed. Mother Ghost hid in the air and didn't interfere in this battle. But she also wouldn't let the near gods of West Desolate interfere. Kill. Many angry roars sounded. The star sages released their power, and the Tao chains pressed down. The 3 lights intertwined. The Tai Yin sword and the Tai Yang sword slashed down with the power of the 3 lights. Buzz. Jiang Chongkong didn't hesitate. He activated the 3 great Tao forms and Tao patterns lit up the entire Imperial Star. He punched at the Tao chains, including the Star Demon Emperor. Boom! The Imperial Star shook. The Tao chains shattered. The power of the 3 lights followed and clashed with the Tai Yin sword and the Tai Yang sword. Clang! The swords fell, but it was as if they had struck something indestructible. The violent power swept out, and the Star Demon Emperor was sent flying for thousands of miles. Drops of golden blood dripped from the 3 lights' fists. His skin was broken, but the blood flew back and the injury healed. The clothes god array is too far away from the near gods, Jiang Chongkong said disdainfully. The difference was too big. Even with the support of the many star sages, they couldn't display the power to rule over everything. Chapter 452. Jiang Chongkong held a Tao chain in one hand and dragged it. The entire Imperial Star trembled and was on the verge of collapse. Large amounts of mountain ranges collapsed and star formations were breaking apart. One after another, the bodies of the star's sacred beasts exploded into a mist of blood, unable to reassemble. Jiang Chongkong punched. Star arrays collapsed, buildings were destroyed, and countless living beings wailed. Only Jiang Chongkong, who had 3 Tao forms, was infinitely close to becoming a god. Jiang Chongkong was actually not satisfied with the damage he had caused. He could destroy the entire Imperial planet with one punch after activating the 4 Tao forms. Now that his Tao forms had been carved and his indestructible golden body had been perfected, the three battle forms could break his skin. As for the other star saints, even if they controlled the god-killing array, there was only one result. They couldn't break his defense. Kill. I don't believe you've become a god. The Star Demon Emperor roared. He had 3 battle forms and was a peak star saint. With the support of the god-killing array, he was infinitely close to becoming a god. The other emperors didn't dare to come to the imperial planet. How could it not stop a new emperor? Boom! With a single palm strike, Jiang Chongkong shattered the near-god grand array and directly smashed this great emperor into the ground. You don't know how strong I am. Billions of stars flowed inside Jiang Chongkong's body, like a collection of stars. At this stage, it was almost equivalent to a real combination of stars. When he transformed into a deity, he would definitely have the power of the entire universe. The Star Demon Emperor's body cracked. He roared and released 3 lights. However, before he could rush out, he was slammed into the ground again. Jiang Chongkong's 3 lights continued to spread, shattering the patterns of the Great Path. The god-killing array that he had to look up to had become extremely fragile. It was like tofu. Star sages exploded one after another. Faced with the unbridled Jiang Chongkong, no one could stop him. Unless he was a god. A strong sense of danger came. Jiang Chongkong sneered and looked at the sky, but he didn't stop. Let him go. Now is not the time for you to fight. A nearing god star demon suppressed the void, and all nearing god spell formations came to a standstill. Why didn't you come out before we made our move? Jiang Chongkong's expression was cold and his eyes were filled with killing intent. When I become a god, I will kill you. Courting death. The star demon's expression turned cold. None of the 3 combat bodies dared to challenge the star demon. Even if he had such thoughts, he didn't dare to show it. Jiang Chongkong was the first person to do so. It also meant that he could not be controlled. This kind of uncontrollable person must be eliminated. The star demon, who was close to a god, covered the entire imperial star with one palm. A Tao might that was above all things swept out. Close to God, at the peak of the starry sky. The intense pressure caused all of the star saints to prostrate. Even the heavily injured Star Demon Emperor felt a sense of helplessness. Qin Empire's Emperor, you are seeking death. The Star Demon Emperor sneered. They all had thoughts about the nearing god, but no one dared to show it. They thought that after this fiasco and the compensation of resources, the matter would be over. Unexpectedly, Jiang Chongkong took the initiative to provoke the nearing god. Hee, a delicate laughter sounded, but it carried a gloomy aura. Boundless coldness and dense death energy surged. A huge face broke the sky-covering palm and coldly looked at the nearing god Star Demon. Underworld Demon Mother. The nearing god Star Demon's expression darkened. What is the meaning of this? Are you trying to hinder the path to immortality? It's been a long time since I tasted nearing god. Just satisfy me. The huge face revealed a ferocious smile and directly drilled into the nearing god Star Demon's body. You boom. The nearing god Star Demon exploded. Boundless ghost energy swept out, wrapped around the nearing god's body, and flew out of the imperial star. Now, it's our turn. Jiang Chongkong smiled. Nearing god Star Demon? This ghost mother was at the limit of nearing god. Even a peak nearing god wouldn't be a match for ghost mother. Great Qin Emperor, I'm willing to surrender. You'll be my leader in the future. The Star Demon Emperor panicked. The nearing god Star Demon had been destroyed. He was completely unreliable. In the Great Qin Empire, from emperors to nearing gods, none of them followed the rules. They even dared to kill nearing gods. I said, I don't accept surrender. Jiang Chongkong snorted and grabbed the Star Demon Emperor with one hand. The power of 3 lights surged out and forcefully destroyed the Star Demon Emperor. Even if the Star Demon Emperor had high resistance against the power of 3 lights, Jiang Chongkong wouldn't be able to withstand the endless power of 3 lights. Great Qin Emperor, you're breaking the treaty. The nearing god won't let you go. The Star Demon Emperor roared, still making a final struggle. Bullsh *T treaty. I've just left the immortal desolate, so I don't know. Jiang Chongkong sneered. As long as he killed the Star Demon Emperor, he could evade everything. With the mediation of the Merfolk King, would those nearing gods start a war? With a loud boom, the Star Demon Emperor exploded, but his body was still healing. Jiang Chongkong continued to pour the power of 3 lights into the Star Demon Emperor, repeatedly killing him. In the end, when the Star Demon Emperor had a single breath left, Jiang Chongkong healed him. The Star Demon Emperor's aura was weak, and the killing intent in his heart had already dissipated. Great Qin Emperor, you're strong, and I didn't lose unjustly. I just hope that you can treat the star race well. I can order the entire star race to follow you and fight for you. He had no other choice. Once he died, no one would be able to protect the Star Demon. I left you alive to tell you that the Star Demon doesn't deserve to live. Jiang Chongkong's expression was cold to the extreme. The power of 3 lights in his hand exploded out, completely destroying the Star Demon Emperor's life force. From the start, I wanted to kill all the Star Demon Emperors. Treat them well? Isn't this a joke? Jiang Chongkong looked at the remaining Star Sages who were still alive. They were all heavily injured, and their expressions were filled with fear. Emperor, I'm from the West Ocean. I'm willing to be your captive. I'm from the East Ocean. The East Ocean Emperor will definitely use resources to redeem me. Please don't kill me. I don't need captives. I don't accept surrenders. Jiang Chongkong's expression was indifferent. The power of 3 lights passed through, and the Star Saint died. On the Imperial planet, all living beings were killed. Roar. After the battle ended, the Yellow Springs people rushed over to clean up the battlefield. In an instant, ghosts danced, and deathly aura corroded the Imperial planet. Pass my decree. Tell the East Ocean and West Ocean to support the West Wilderness Star Demon. He caused Great Qin to suffer heavy casualties, and immediately compensate them with 1 million Star Saint resources. Otherwise, the army will move out and destroy the 2 countries. Give them 1 day to consider. Jiang Chongkong's voice was like thunder, resounding throughout the Imperial planet. The gods who followed him were dumbfounded. You killed all of them, and you still want compensation? Is there such a thing? Are you still not going to carry it out? Jiang Chongkong said coldly. Yes, Emperor. A group of evil spirits and corpse cultivators took out their devices and contacted the 2 countries to ask for compensation. The Imperial Palace flew over, and a group of nether dragons carried it in the air. Jiang Chongkong entered the Imperial Palace and sat on the dragon throne. Below him were the Yellow Springs Star Saints and nether dragons. Congratulations, Emperor, for conquering West Wilderness. The 2 paths of Yellow Springs all had respectful expressions, without a trace of falsehood. Jiang Chongkong single-handedly conquered West Wilderness, establishing his prestige to the outside world, and also to the inside world. In the past, when there were near gods, no one dared to disobey. Now there were no near gods, and no one dared to disobey. Those who disobeyed would be killed. As for combat power, it was enough to have him. They were just taking advantage of the situation. Did they have the face to cause trouble? If they dared to disrespect Jiang Chongkong, he would kill them, no matter who they were. Chapter 453. Your Majesty, West Desolation has been conquered. Will the corpses and souls be distributed according to Yellow Springs rules, or? A Star Saint Dark Dragon asked. How did you distribute them before? Jiang Chongkong asked. Before, it belonged to whoever killed them, but this time, it was your Majesty, the Star Saint Dark Dragon said respectfully. Keep one of the corpses you took, and hand the rest to the national treasury as rewards. Jiang Chongkong pondered. As for those who didn't, we'll have to work harder. Your Majesty, Are you planning to continue the war? The dark dragon was worried. No, I can't for now. The near deities are coming, Jiang Chongkong said indifferently, but West Desolation is not completely destroyed. Listen up, I want West Desolation to become the underworld and a paradise for Yellow Springs. Apart from Earth, no living beings are allowed to appear in West Desolation, especially the Star Demon. At the end, Jiang Chongkong's expression was extremely cold. Thank you, Your Majesty, the Yellow Springs Star Saints said excitedly. This was clearly a reward. West Desolation becoming the underworld was their Yellow Springs paradise. The following corpses and souls will be distributed according to your Yellow Springs rules. How much you get will depend on your own strength. Also, don't get into conflict with each other. Jiang Chongkong ordered coldly. Yes, Your Majesty. The Star Saints were even more excited. This time, Yellow Springs' power was about to increase. Quickly take stock of West Desolation's resources and hand them over to me, Jiang Chongkong ordered. Resources were the most important, including the Star Saints' resources. The Star Saints left, but the Dark Dragon did not. It floated in front of Jiang Chongkong and said pitifully, I didn't get any corpses. Cough, Brother Dragon, you're too weak. Jiang Chongkong was a bit embarrassed, but it's fine, you'll get them when they hand them over to the National Treasury. I have a name, Brother Space. I'm Jiang Zhongming, the Dark Dragon said unhappily. Fine, I'll call you Brother Ming. Jiang Chongkong rubbed his chin and thought, quickly take the corpses and secretly keep some. Don't go overboard. All right, I'll go right away. Jiang Zhongming left excitedly. The great emperor personally invited him, so he had to seize this opportunity. If he couldn't catch it, Jiang Chongkong could only reward it to him in the future. I can't just throw the entire national treasury to him. How am I going to distribute it to the Huang Quan soldiers? Jiang Zhongming transformed into a young man and arrived beside his companions. What are you guys doing? Jiang Zhongming asked curiously. Contact the two countries and ask them for compensation, a young man said. You haven't contacted him yet? Let me explain. Jiang Zhongming said excitedly. He had to get a lot of resources for his little brother. Otherwise, he would be letting down the fat job that his little brother had given him. Very soon, the call connected. It was the Eastern Sea Emperor, Huang Qianlin. Who are you? Huang Qianlin frowned, and his expression turned cold. Where is the great emperor of the Western Wasteland? Little Huang, the Western Desolate has already been destroyed. Now, it's the Grand Qin Immortal Empire. Jiang Zhongming laughed. Desolate Thousand Forest, an old acquaintance. The great emperor who had been kidnapped and beaten up by his little brother. Huang Qianlin's expression darkened. Little Huang? Who gave you the courage to call me that? The Western Desolate was destroyed? The Great Qin Immortal Empire? What situation was this? Didn't the great emperor of the Western Desolate say that they would have a decisive battle on the Imperial Star? There was a grand formation near the great emperor of the Western Desolate, as well as the reinforcements he sent. How could they be destroyed? Great Qin Immortal Empire? I want to speak to your great emperor. Huang Qianlin's expression returned to normal as he calmly spoke. You don't have the qualifications to see our great emperor. Jiang Zhongming spoke in disdain. Our great emperor said that you sent reinforcements to the Western Desolate, causing Great Qin to suffer heavy casualties. Now, compensate us with 5 million Star Sage cultivation resources. If not, we will destroy your Eastern Sea Divine Empire. Where are our troops? Killed them all. Bang! The screen directly turned black. A young man pondered. I dare to bet that Huang Qianlin smashed the device. Didn't the great emperor say 1 million? You directly increased it by 5 times. If it was me, I would also smash the device. Another young female ghost spoke unkindly. Zhang Ming, you are tampering with the great emperor's decree. Don't think that you can act recklessly just because you have a good relationship with the great emperor. I didn't. The great emperor said 1,000,000. 5,000,000 is also 1,000,000. Jiang Zhongming spoke seriously. The great emperor only said 1,000,000 and didn't give us any specifics. He just wants us to do what we want. The bottom line is 1,000,000. Is that so? The few of them were somewhat dumbfounded. That's right. Negotiations on Earth are all like this. Give us a bottom line and let us do what we want. The great emperor said that this is called raising the price on the ground and returning the money on the ground. We can discuss this. Jiang Zhongming spoke solemnly, explaining this matter to them. The few young men were enlightened, but they soon lost their composure. But Huang Qianlin doesn't want to discuss with us. He directly smashed the device. How could they discuss this? It's fine. There's still the Western Sea, Jiang Chongkong said. Let me do it this time, the young female ghost said. Jiang Zhongming also wanted to see if they had improved or not. 15 minutes later, our great emperor said that you have to compensate 9,900,000 star sage cultivation resources. Otherwise, he will destroy your entire empire. Bang! The device was smashed again. The few of them stared at the black screen and sighed heavily. Another non-negotiable condition. These two great emperors are both idiot. They've never bought vegetables on Earth before. Let's go. Jiang Zhongming shook his head and prepared to take them to collect the corpses. His companions' faces turned green. Did you learn negotiation from buying vegetables? On the other side, the two great emperors were furious. You've killed all my people, and you still want compensation? We're the ones who suffered heavy casualties. If you keep them, we might get resources to redeem them. But you killed them all and still want compensation? It's fine if you want compensation, but you want millions? Do you think resources are weeds? After being angry for a long time, the two great emperors finally contacted the near god. The destruction of Western Desolation was too serious. As for sending troops to attack, they didn't believe it at all. Even if you destroyed Western Desolation, the near gods would still find trouble with you. Under such circumstances, they still have the mood to attack us? Even now, they had the ability to destroy Earth's celestial kingdoms, but they hadn't truly destroyed them. The near gods wouldn't allow it. The near gods in charge of the two kingdoms had already received the news. Their expressions were extremely cold. The near gods in charge of Western Desolation had been killed. This wasn't just destroying a kingdom, but also a near god. Was the new Great Qin crazy? How dare they attack the near gods at this time? No need to panic. The near gods have gone to investigate, the two near gods said calmly. Seeing that the near gods were so calm, the two great emperors were relieved. They went into seclusion to study the path of the near gods. Many of these near gods were at the limit of the near gods. Outside the imperial planet, the 9 near gods of Hades had wooden expressions, waiting for their arrival. A few days later, thousands of flowers bloomed, the water rippled, and golden light covered the path. Ghost Mother is finally willing to come out. Hua Qianrui has missed her for a long time. In the Grand Flower, Hua Qianrui looked at Ghost Mother with a smile. Old friend, long time no see, the Mermaid King said with a smile. Old friend, long time no see, the Mermaid King said with a smile. Soul near gods, body near gods, all kinds of ancient near gods, and new near gods had gathered outside the imperial planet. This time, things had gone out of their control again. In the space where the sub was, after seeing the near gods leave, he looked at Ying Liuli, who was not far away, and walked over. Chapter 454. In the boundless sea of flowers, Ying Liuli frowned. Her face was full of worry. Ying Liuli. The deputy came to her side with a smile. Are you worried about the celestial nation of Earth? Yes, Ying Liuli responded, feeling down and solemn. The celestial nation of Earth was in an awkward position. The weakest immortal empire was still in a state of chaos. If Nan Yuyang didn't have the 3 war physiques, he would have been replaced. Now, he could only send a near god to oversee the nation, but he couldn't interfere with its development. This worried her. She was afraid that one day, the celestial nation of Earth would no longer exist. Jiang Chongkong smiled and plucked a flower. You can still smile now? Ing Liuli admired his mentality. He could still smile at a time like this. I'm here to ask for a favor, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. What can I help you with now? Ing Liuli sighed. There are so many near gods keeping each other in check. There's nothing I can do. The near gods of the various nations were gathered together. Together with the old near gods, they would do anything to become immortals. They would go back on their words and kill anyone who stood in their way of becoming immortals. Jiang Chongkong looked at her. She was wearing a blue dress and there was worry on her face. She looked more like a weak woman. After a moment of silence, Jiang Chongkong swept away the strange emotions in his heart. If I die one day, please burn my body and bring it back to my homeland. Ing Liuli frowned. There was a hint of coldness on her solemn face. I will protect you. I promise. I'm not afraid of death. I just don't want to die and become a star crystal after I die. Also, don't let anyone see when you burn my body. Jiang Chongkong had a self-deprecating look on his face. Speaking of which, apart from the 3 senior sisters, I really don't have any attachment. Jiang Chongkong, what's wrong with you today? Ing Liuli frowned. She felt that Jiang Chongkong was not normal today. Jiang Chongkong smiled faintly. Nothing, just in case. You don't have to protect me anymore. Are you seeking death? Ing Liuli's expression changed slightly. I told you, it's just in case. Jiang Chongkong smiled and changed the topic. By the way, why did these demigods leave? The West Baron was destroyed. A man with the 3 great war form was killed. Ing Liuli didn't hide anything. Jiang Chongkong seemed to have just found out. He scoffed. Who said that they would not interfere? Serves them right if they were killed. Now, they can't wait to go over. Ing Liuli fell silent, not knowing how to respond. Jiang Chongkong did not say anything else. He returned to the sea of flowers and sat down cross-legged. On the other side, a group of true gods were meeting. Everyone, why have you come to Great Qin? Ghost Mother and the other near gods coldly looked at them. It's not the final moment yet. Isn't that person from Great Qin a bit too impatient? Why didn't you come out when the Stargate opened? A near god questioned coldly. Is this the tone you use to talk to your seniors? Mother Ghost Mother looked at the near god gloomily, her ghostly aura surging. Mother Ghost Mother, why do you have to be so murderous? Hua Tianrui chuckled. Thousands of flowers bloomed around them, brightening the star region. We are all here to become immortals. Please understand, Mother Ghost Mother. Mother Ghost Mother, we have been waiting for immortals for so many years. The opportunity is right in front of us. We can't allow any accidents to happen, the near god said. Haha, no accidents? Jiang Chongkong was an accident and you imprisoned him. Jiang Chongyue was an accident and you lured him out to kill him. Now you say that we are an accident? A skeleton laughed weirdly, its empty eye sockets emitting green light. What? Are you going to kill us now? Ghost King, you must be joking. We are all here to become immortals. Everything can be discussed, the King of Mermaids said with a smile. His azure scepter shone brightly. I have been friends with you for so many years, and we are best friends. Why would I use force? What does the King of Mermaids mean? The near god dragon frowned. The King of Mermaids said with a faint smile, the Emperor's background. Also, please hold off. The real game has yet to begin. The Great Qin Emperor is a genius of the immortal wilderness. I happened to save him during a crisis, and he has been nurturing him ever since. Mother Ghost Mother said coldly, Are you satisfied with this explanation? Yes, of course. The King of Mermaids nodded. He believed the explanation. Can we stop the battle? We are also anxious to become immortals. Since we are going to determine a winner, why don't we settle it earlier and choose the strongest to nurture? Mother Ghost Mother's pale face became even more sinister. It is still too early to determine the winner. Only one of the 3 combat bodies is left. The 3 lights immortal palace will appear, and the 3 immortal artifacts will reunite. The 3 combat bodies of a peak star saint won't be able to control these powers, and it will be even more difficult to fuse them. Hua Qianrui explained, this will harm them. The near gods of Yellow Spring sneered. Harm them? You are worried that the path to immortality will be cut short, right? They could also tell that the near gods wanted to tame the 3 combat bodies before opening the gate of immortality. They wanted them to be obedient and send themselves to death. Unfortunately, the one in the immortal desolate was too anxious. If he had not opened the path to immortality by himself, he would have been able to wipe out the near gods and restore peace to the universe. Please understand, the near gods said calmly. Fine, for the sake of immortality, we agree. The near gods sighed helplessly and agreed. Now was not the time to fight. Even if they had 2 near gods and the king of mermaids, they had no chance of winning. Thank you for your understanding. The near gods bowed and turned into light and left. None of them mentioned the near god who had died. The king of mermaids also left, merging into the void and disappearing. The near gods of Yellow Spring snorted and left. Inside the palace, Jiang Chongkong sat on the dragon throne with his hand supporting his head, pretending to be asleep. The void rippled and the near gods returned. Emperor, we have stalled them, but we can't attack for now, Mother Ghost Mother replied and told him everything. Jiang Chongkong smiled faintly. When I come out of seclusion, I will destroy another one. Emperor, I am afraid they are all paying attention to Great Qin. Everyone frowned. No worries, fighting is beneficial for me. When I come out of seclusion, I will sense the near god Dao. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently, is this reason enough? The near gods looked at each other and Mother Ghost Mother said coldly, we can try. I will have to trouble you in the following days. Jiang Chongkong nodded slightly and let the near gods leave. Half a month later, all the resources were settled. There was a total of 1.63 billion. Including what he had obtained before, it was a little over 2.1 billion. The desolate forest that he had conned back then was really too much for him. Conquering West Wilderness only gave him 1.6 billion, but he had conned 1 billion back then. Jiang Chongkong got the resources, extracted his essence, qi and spirit, and started seclusion. It was enough for him to perfect 2 martial arts. He wondered if his 3 Dao bodies would be able to reach the near god realm. As Jiang Chongkong went into seclusion, the starry sky became peaceful again. The emperors of East Sea and West Sea were worried at first. But when they saw that there was no movement from Great Qin, they were completely relieved. They were even more wary of the near gods. Even the near gods of Yellow Spring, who could kill 3 battle bodies, could not go against the near gods' orders.